years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back, man. Y'all already know what time it is, man.
Welcome to the 50.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Raiders!
Hey, man, y'all already know what time it is, man. It's the 50-50 Show. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through, man. I know, man. I know. But hey, look, this is the time that we come on, man. I know it's Tuesday night, like we always say, but we appreciate everybody being patient with us. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, the Raiders made plenty of moves since the last time we were on, and that's the coaching staff. We'll get into all that. The offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly. Greg Olsen is back at QB coach for the 100th time. We got a whole Brandon Carroll. You know what I mean? He's getting the Pete Carroll scholarship. You know, for being honest. Now I'm just playing. But let's get into it, man. We see everybody night crew pulling up, man. Hey, make sure to clock in. I said, man, hit that like button. We're going live on both our channels. Raider way in the building, man. Hey, we gotta salute you, man. Your patience, man. I see you holding it down, man. And also, you clown on this too, but you know we deserve it. I'm not gonna lie. We went on time. It's all good. Chill Ray in the building, man. What's good, man? Hey, gotta salute you, man. Appreciate you coming through. Man. Yeah, man. We got a lot to talk about. We got everybody pulling up. Night Owl in the building. I can't even lie. I was going through the Raider depression, and I'm slowly creeping out of it with this new regime. It always is. Isn't that always the case though? I'm telling you, the best part of the Raiders' year is usually the offseason. And hopefully that's not the case. You know, next season, you know, we're going to have a great season. I'm not going to wish anything on the Raiders, but I'm not going to lie. I'm with you. I'm like, man, I kind of like some of the moves that they made, like the coaching staff. And, you know, Pete Carroll has shown in the past where he could build a staff. I'll give him that. It's, you know. But we'll talk about it. We'll get into that. Salute to everybody coming up. Mad Dog Raider in the building. He says, what up, first time catching a live? I got you, man. Appreciate you coming through. My guy. But yeah, man, appreciate you coming through. Chill Ray says, optimistic in the offseason, disappointed in season, rinse and repeat every year. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. We're being honest. But
facts.
But
it's the Raider cycle, man. They got the little graph, the Raider cycle.
The Raider cycle. It's, man, if that's probably one of the realest memes out there on the Raiders, man. But yeah, I mean, but I'm with you. I'm kind of excited. I'm looking forward to free agency because the Raiders, they went out and they're handing out the money left and right to these assistant coaches. I'm like, okay, what is free agency going to look like? It looks like they're going to be handing out money in free agency as well. If we're reading the tea leaves, but we'll get into that. L11 in the building says Pharaoh Severe Nation, man. Appreciate you coming through. Louis Garcia, I swear every time I hear that theme, damn, bro. Just we
First of all,
oh man, Louis Garcia, man. That's uncalled for right there.
I thought you saw it, bro. I was about to put bro on the smooth. I was about to put bro on the smooth timeout, bro.
Louis, man, I don't know what's going on. Just say someone hacked you. Like, did someone hack you, and we'll just let it slide. Milka Beezy's in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. 831 Raider, Rod Gas in the building. Shout out from Mexico, my guy, man. Appreciate you coming through. Nacion, welcome, Mad Dog Pharaoh. Hey, man, my guy Yaya Hatamaki coming through and always supporting the show, man. I appreciate you coming through. Hey, as usual, the guy that supports the show, he likes to start it off right. Smoke in the building. You already know. Like, subscribe. Raiders. My guy Smoke, man. Appreciate you coming through. D Menace. Man, we got everybody pulling up today. We got everybody pulling up today, man. But let's not waste any time, man. Let's not waste any time. Chip Kelly was hired as the offensive coordinator kind of out the blue. Like, it was, we threw out the name out there, I think, in previous shows. We talked about maybe possible offensive coordinators. He was an offensive coordinator that was part of, he was down. I think he was one of the OC choices last year.
Yeah,
and
one of the finalists.
One of the finalists. And it's kind of surprising that the Raiders didn't go that direction. They ended up going with Lou Getsy. And one of the main things why he didn't get the job last year was because he wanted to bring a lot of staff members from UCLA. And I guess, for whatever reason, Pierce is like, nah, we're not doing that. And he ended up going with Getsy. And that could have, you can make a case that was probably his downfall. That's how bad a hire that Getsy was. But that being said, Chip Kelly goes to Ohio State, finishes strong. They win a national championship, especially puts on a show offensively for the Ohio State during the playoffs. The rest is history. Gets paid $6 million, the most ever to a coordinator, which is crazy to think. Do you think? I'll let you start off. What did you think of the hire? Because I there's a little bit of I'm looking at this move, and I'm kind of looking ahead and what this might mean. But let's hear from you, man. What do you think of Chip Kelly?
Just strictly in terms of an offensive mind, there are few people, if any, that have greater offensive prowess than Chip Kelly. I mean, like, maybe Andy Reid, maybe Kyle Shanahan, and that's maybe. It's saying maybe. That's how good of an offensive mind he is. Like, he's so good. He's such a good offensive mind that people in the NFL, when he was at Oregon, they were like inviting him to their training camps. So, like, yo, man, show us how you're doing what you're doing. I want to say the Patriots did it. at least one other team did it as well, where they're like, yo, man, like, what are you doing down there? Like, come up here, talk to our coaches, show us like what like how you're operating this, show us how this is done. So, and like his run schemes are super innovative. Like he was one of the first people that was really like doing like the RPO type stuff in college. Like he's a super innovative mind, right? Like, you know, and he started something everybody assumed, because he would run a spread offense, that he was a high powered passing attack. But he would do something called spread to run. So he was running out of these spread formations. So it was, like I said, in terms of offensive minds, there are very few that are better than him. Now his faults are, you know, as everybody, you know, if you're that good at something, obviously on the other end of things, you're going to have some shortcomings. And, you know, his interpersonal skills, they aren't the best. I will say that, you know, in his time at UCLA, I saw that grow, especially in terms of dealing with players. But, you know, he's not the best with the media. He can be a prickly guy, but he's a guy that if you just let him do his thing, let him like teach his offense, run his offense, and call plays, there's very few people out there that are better than Chip Kelly.
I'm okay with it being an offensive coordinator. I'm okay with that because I know what's going to get better is that run game. I think that's one of the biggest things that I think the Raiders are looking to prioritize this offseason, especially with Pete Carroll talking about how he wants to build his team, and it's going to be defense and running the football leading the way. And that sounds familiar from his days, his time with the Seattle Seahawks. Now even USC too as well. Like they had a really good run game with Reggie Bush, Thunder and Lightning type of situation. Hopefully the Raiders have their version of Thunder and Lightning. If they draft a couple of running backs, maybe you draft at least one, get a guy in free agency, who knows, or through a trade or whatnot. But I think Pete Carroll as an offensive coordinator, I'm okay with. You know what I mean? Just because he's familiar with the college game, he's familiar with the players that's coming in. It's going to be interesting how they attack that quarterback position. That's going to be the big key too, as well. Like, how are they going to attack that quarterback position? And I think with Chip Kelly, him being familiar with who he's Will Howard now becomes a little bit more, I won't say intriguing, but you could connect the dots a little bit, just because I'm not saying I'm all for it, but I'm just saying, like, you could connect the dots because Chip Kelly obviously coached him with Ohio State. The only problem is that I'm looking at this as more of a chess move. I'm like, man, like Chip Kelly, his first opportunity to come back and coach the NFL. The last few times he coached the NFL, he was a head coach. It did not work. It for a lot of different reasons. And I hope that him as a head coach doesn't happen. Because I hope that's not the move. I hope that, because I know what's going to happen possibly. Like if we were to look at it from a perspective of like everything works out offensively. Offensively, the Raiders look good, and then Pete Carroll in a couple years or so, he's going to like step down, and then hopefully the Raiders don't go in a direction, because from what the players are saying, it sounds Josh McDaniels like, and how the players talked about Chip Kelly and how he micromanaged them, especially in Philly, and obviously didn't work out in San Francisco. They fired him after 1 year. They gave him the AP treatment. Like, they're like, you know what, we got someone better that we like. And at that time, I think was it Kyle Shanahan? I believe I think that they went ahead and hired Kyle Shanahan after Chip Kelly.
Kyle Shanahan came out and struggled too. He came out and struggled initially.
That first year?
He was trash the first 2 years. Remember Jimmy G is who saved Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan was low-key on the verge of getting fired. And then Jimmy G, like down the stretch of that season, he got hot. And that low-key, I don't know if he's going to get fired, but he was like going low-key on the hot seat because they were looking terrible. Mm-hmm. And then Jimmy G, he caught fire. And, I think that very next year he went into the year as a starter. And they were pretty good ever since then. But he was struggling early on.
I just hope that, Chip Kelly hopefully he doesn't think that he's going to become the head coach for the Raiders. after Pete Carroll, because I hope he doesn't think that's going to happen. But as an OC, it's intriguing. I want to see what that's going to look like, especially with him just focusing on the offense. He's not going to have the responsibility as a head coach, because a lot of people point to like, oh, well, look what happened with Philadelphia. I mean, if you think about it with Philadelphia, that Philadelphia team was kind of talented. It was talented with Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, Jeremy Maclin, Michael Vick at quarterback. They finished top 5 in offense, I think, back-to-back years in 2013 and 2014. But that 2015 season is when he got fired. And obviously, like, you hear the LaShawn McCoys and the Deshaun Jackson talk about him, and we'll get into some of the other guys that were in the locker room and talk about him as a head coach. But yeah, it didn't work out, and obviously it didn't work out in San Francisco. But him as an offensive coordinator, I can see, and it's going to be interesting to see how what the run game is going to look like, the pass game, and quarterback. I mean, do you have any idea what if you had to like match up a quarterback with Chip Kelly? Who do you think it would be?
Like people that are available.
Yeah, just looking at, because now we know who the, because that was like the big question going into offseason. We got to know who the offensive coordinator is. Then we know we kind of have an idea of maybe the type of skill set they're looking for at quarterback. With Chip Kelly, what does that look like?
He wants a guy that can first of all, a guy that's tough. Like, that toughness is going to be important. A guy that's smart, that's a quick processor, that can make quick decisions, get rid of the ball, get the ball out of his hands really quickly, accurately. He also prefers mobility, but he can work with a guy that's not as mobile. Usually he likes somewhat taller quarterbacks, but he's been able to work with shorter guys in the past. He was able to work with DTR. But generally, he likes taller guys like Nick Foles. I think Nick Foles is like 6'5". Marcus Mariota is like 6'3", 6'4". He traded for Sam Bradford. I think Sam Bradford is like 6'3", 6'4" as well. So
Sam
he usually
likes not mobile at all.
Yeah, he wasn't mobile at all. But and he's coming off injuries too. But he generally prefers like mobile guys. But like I said, he's a guy that he will fit his system around his personnel. Yeah. And that's what he did. That's what he did in Philadelphia. People talked about the time in Philly. LaShawn McCoy had his best year under Chip Kelly. Deshaun Jackson had his best year under Chip Kelly. He took a team that was 4-12 under Andy Reid, and they went 10-6 the next year, won the division, and went to the playoffs. Right? They went 10-6 the next year. I think they missed the playoffs, but that's because back in the day, it was only one wild card spot per conference. But if it was this current format, they would have been in the playoffs back-to-back years. So, he went there, went to a situation, and he started winning. So, and they were doing it offensively. They were doing it offensively, And another thing he did was he brought in Stoutland, who is, widely regarded as the best offensive line coach in the NFL. Right? Everybody talked about Stoutland. The Eagles could potentially win the Super Bowl based on their offensive line, and Chip Kelly is the guy that essentially put that in place. And a lot of people say, like, a lot of the people he brought in, those were people that contributed to that Super Bowl winning team later on. So, it was a mixed bag in Philly. It was all bad in San Francisco, but people choose to focus on some of the bad, and it's because the people that are the most negative just happen to be the people that are the loudest.
But you know what, though? It was Andy Reid's team. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of those pieces, the Michael Vicks was because of Andy Reid. He brought him in there. The Deshaun Jacksons, the Jeremy Maclins, like the Deshaun McCoy. A lot of that team was Andy Reid's team. So what happened was Chip Kelly eventually was trying to get rid of some of those guys in that locker room, and it just didn't work. I don't think they agreed. Yeah. It just didn't work. And then he goes to San Francisco, and then he wasn't really good offensively that first season. But, it was his first season there. And like I said, like we always say, you got to give a coach more than 1 year. But San Francisco was like, nah, we don't. We're not we got our head coach of the future, and that's Kyle Shanahan, and they just cut ties. Like I said, the AP treatment. You know what I mean, low key. But that being said, he's here as an offensive coordinator. The only reason I'm bringing up his head coaching stuff is because I hope that it's not a chess move, because that's the first thing I was thinking about. Like, oh man, like You know, because that's how the league is run by like offensive coaches. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and we all know there's going to be an expiration date to as far as his time with the Raiders. Yeah. We know that it's coming with Pete Carroll. Like, we know that like he's going to be here for a set amount of time, and then he's going to be warming it up for the next guy. Like, you know, just due to his age. Like, if we're being honest. So I'm thinking like, hey, if Chip Kelly kills it offensively. You know,
which he would likely do. Like I said, he took over. Like, it might have been Andy Reid's team, but that team went 4-12 the year before. So he took that same team that Andy Reid, his guys that went 4-12, and he took them to 10-6 back-to-back years. Like, Andy Reid got fired because he couldn't get that same team to win, and Chip Kelly went in there and won with them. Now, what they shouldn't have done was give Chip Kelly personnel control. I mean, we've talked about this, you know, ad nauseum. This is part of the reason why we were hesitant about Jim Harbaugh, is because we've never really, you know, outside of, you know, Bill Belichick, and he had Tom Brady, we've never seen a coach be the coach and the GM and it have any kind of long lasting success. Like, generally those guys falter, and you know, that's what happened with Chip Kelly. He got too big for his britches, and you know, it got to be more about him and his system rather than, you know, which will work in college. You can do that in college, but in the NFL, it's you know, it's a player-centric league. Like, you need players. Like, no matter how good your scheme is, if you don't have the players to execute it, you're not going to have success. And I think he learned that lesson the very hard way, and it cost him his job.
Man, shout out to Raider Smoke with the super chat. He says ownership making it rain like Magic City. Hey, man, they are though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Patrick Graham got a raise. Chip Kelly's the highest paid coordinator of all time, which is crazy, at $6 million. You know, people reported like that's, I think some people said might be higher than what AP was making last year, which is crazy. Which is crazy. And he's a coordinator. So the Raiders are going all in. They're paying their coaches. They're paying their coordinator. I wonder what Pete Carroll's making.
If he's making 6, what is Pete making?
Man, senior. They might have got a senior discount. I think they got a senior discount.
They got the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity breakfast. Dennis. No, but for real. But look, with that, hey, I'm kind of looking ahead of free agency a little bit. Like, hey, the Raiders are super aggressive with these coach hires. What is it going to look like with free agency? I think, you know, obviously, you know, they got a whole bunch of free agents that they need to resign. Hopefully, I mean, that's going to be interesting. How does SpyTech view the players that are, you know, their contracts are up? Like, are they? Is he going to look to resign? Is he going to lean on Patrick Graham? You know, like, and who he wants to bring back, and you know, who are you prioritizing? Does he want to? You know, that's going to be interesting seeing how he attacks free agency and how, if he wants to bring back some of the guys last year, because he wasn't here. You know, he might want to prioritize a guy that's, we see it all the time. You know, the guy that he knows, that they're familiar with. You know what I mean? Like, when McDaniels was here, they brought some Patriot guys with them, or guys they're familiar with. Even McKenzie, I think, might have brought some guys from Green Bay. You know, and SpyTech might bring some guys from, you know, Tampa Bay. Who knows? But it's gonna be interesting how they attack free agency. You said Godwin? I wouldn't mind that for the right price.
Yeah, he do got an injury history too.
He does, but I mean, all the free agent receivers do. Like all the big name receivers that are available right now, they got injury history. The T. Higgins got injury history. Cooper Kupp, he's available in the trade, injury history. DK Metcalf available in the trade, injury history. All these dudes got injury history right now. So, you know,
the wide receiver market is kind of tough.
Huh?
Yeah, the wide receiver market is kind of tough. Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, but would that fit though with what we need? I mean, because Godwin's kind of a possession guy. He's talented receiver when healthy, but he's number 2. Would you consider him a number? You consider him a 1?
I think Chris Godwin could be a 1. I think he could be a 1.
He could be 1 on this team.
I think he could be a 1. But the thing about it is that, like I said, Chip Kelly, like, his offense, he's real creative. But like the number one receiver is going to be Brock Bowers. I've seen what he did at UCLA with, a bunch of 2- and 3-star recruits, with, turning Greg Dulcich from a walk-on wide receiver, like I think he was a 1 or 0-star recruit, into a second-round pick, converted him over to tight end, turned him into the highest ranked tight end in his class, and got drafted in the second round. Like I've seen what he can do with those kind of guys. I've seen what he can do with a moved tight end, one that's nowhere near as talented as Brock Bowers. So if he has he's getting that kind of production out of out of Greg Dulcich, I can only imagine what he's going to do with Brock Bowers. Like it's going to be nasty.
Chill Ray said Chip Kelly's not Pete's successor. Is going to be Pete's son or Deuce Gruden.
Deuce Gruden need to be fired, bro. Low key.
Hey, is Deuce Gruden? Is he? Is he still with the team? He's still with the team.
Him and AJ Nibel still with the team, bro. The both strength and conditioning coaches are still with the team. How are they still with the team after the number of injuries we had last year? How are they still allowed in the building? That's crazy.
Right. It's interesting too because not everybody was brought back, in the coaching staff. And we thought Ricky Manning Jr. was back. There was a report that said Ricky Manning Jr. is going to be brought back. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if he caught the memo or he was like, hell nah to the nah. Like there's another opportunity that he's taken, but he was one of the coaches not coming back. I think another notable coach that's not coming back is Edgar Bennett, wide receiver coach, who's been here since the Gruden days. Gruden 2.0, not 1.0, but Gruden. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Were you surprised with some of the guys not coming back, or some of the guys that he's bringing back?
I was surprised by Ricky Manning Jr. just because he was at his opening presser. He worked for him in Seattle. I think he did a good job with Jacorian. I think he did an admirable job with DeCamerion. Jack Jones regressed terribly, so maybe they held that against him. Suit to my guy Chris, but maybe they held that against him. But I figured he'd be back. I figured he would be back. Just about everybody else, you kind of like it was no need to bring him back. Mitch Singler, like what is like not gonna miss him. I think Edgar Bennett, that might have been a mutual situation. He's been here through several regimes. He probably doesn't want to go through it once again. Maybe go back to a place he's comfortable. I can see him landing in Green Bay, or maybe landing with the Rams under Mike LaFleur and working for him there. So I can see a situation like that. But other than Ricky Manning Jr., I wasn't really surprised by anybody.
Yeah, I thought Ricky Manning Jr. was going to stay, but obviously he might have other plans. Linebacker coach Mike Caldwell's not coming back.
We knew that though, John Glenn.
Yeah, and also like that was like I think he had a good relationship with AP. It seemed like he was here because of AP.
Possibly.
And then he was the defensive coordinator too. It wasn't a bad hire too. Like obviously he was a DC before coming to the Raiders. Assistant quarterbacks coach Fred Walker is also not coming back. Cadillac Williams, his days are over.
We knew he wasn't coming back. We knew he wasn't coming back.
You got to run the ball. You got to run. You got to just run. Yeah. Man, I shouldn't be clowning him. I ain't no running back coach, but yeah, Kyle Williams ain't coming back. But yeah, man, that pretty much. I think they're not done hiring. They're not done hiring there's still some spots left. Obviously, the running back coach, which we don't know who the running back coach is, the receiver coach. Linebacker coach is the guy from the Commanders, John Glenn. Greg Olsen is back like I said, for the 100th time. Like he keeps coming back. He keeps coming back, but he's not going to be offensive coordinator. He's not going to be a play caller. He's just going to be a QB coach, and I think that's where he shines at. I think that's where you can count on him. Where I think that's a good spot for him. And he wasn't coaching last season, but he was coaching in Seattle the year prior with, I think, Pete Carroll, 2023. Yeah. I think he was with Pete Carroll. Before that, I think he was with Sean McVay, and obviously he was with the Raiders as well. But that's a solid hire, QB coach.
Yeah. I think he's had 2 stints with Sean McVay.
You said 2 stints? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he was there. I think he was there his very first year, 2017, and then he left 2018 to join Gruden's staff. Then he went back 2 years ago. So obviously, I mean, if he has a respect of a guy like McVay,
and Pete,
and
Gruden, Gruden, Pete, and McVay. That's pretty. It says a lot about you. I mean, but with Gruden, he was the offensive coordinator. He was the OC. Obviously, it was only by title, but we all knew who was calling the plays. It was all Gruden. Exactly. But yeah, man, that's they're not done yet. Let's get into the chat real quick, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Louis says, Louis, you're not banned? I thought we banned you already. No, I was playing. He says, looking more like Lockett over Godwin.
Not Lockett.
I seen something. I didn't look too much into it, but I seen something that the Raiders might be connected to Lockett. I mean, obviously Pete Carroll knows him from his days coaching the. At this point, is he the same player that he was? I don't know. I know that the Raiders do need some speed on the outside. That would be nice.
Yes.
I think that would complement, a guy like Jacoby Myers for sure. I'm not sure. Joel says Marvin Lewis is back.
I don't know if he's back. He hasn't been let go yet. There's a chance he's back, but he hasn't been let go yet.
Or he just hasn't been answering his calls.
Exactly. like, trying to get that one last check.
They've probably been blowing up like, hey, man, we don't want to do you like this, but you got to answer your calls. Oh, man. Hey, the chat is going wild right now. Guy will be a solid one. I'll give him give me T. Higgins. But T. Higgins got to want to come here.
Yeah.
Because I think T. Higgins can go to a situation where he gets paid and plays with a quarterback that he wants to play with. Like maybe the Commanders.
Man. Like, I was telling some of my boys, man, if I'm the Commanders, bro, I'm throwing a fat wad of cash at T. Higgins and at Myles Garrett. I'm trying to trade for Myles Garrett, and I'm trying to get T. Higgins, and I'm trying to make a run. Like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing right while I got Jaden on this rookie contract.
Yeah. Devontae, you know what I mean? I thought Devontae, that would have been a great trade spot for him. I remember I called it out like in one of his trade destinations should be the Commanders, because the Commanders, they're probably surprised by the what they were getting out of Jaden Daniels in year one, so they're going to make a run. They were winning all these games. I'm like, oh, man, like if they can add a guy like Devontae Adams on the other side, that would be nice. But obviously Devontae wanted to play with his boys, his friends, whatever. We'll see how that works out. But Devontae could be an option for him too as well. Probably cheaper option compared to T. Higgins, because he's T. Higgins he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid.
Yes, for 30. But Devontae asked like 32 though.
You think he's going to ask for 32?
No, I said he might ask for 30 as well. Like, he might ask for 30 as well.
Man, it's crazy because, the market changes every year. Like, it's just 30. Last year's 25 is going to be next year's 30. It's just like, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like this offseason. Because remember that offseason where Zay Jones was getting cashed out? Dude, we were like all surprised. Like, I think Zay Jones was the one that ruined it for everybody. Zay Jones and
no. It was old boy from the Cardinals.
The Cardinals. Yeah. He got what, like 20 mil?
But it was the Jaguars. The Jaguars paid both of them.
So it was the Jaguars' fault.
It was the Jaguars that paid off both of them. So that's what made us have to pay Devontae so much.
Yeah. But it's always a bad team though. Like the Raiders.
Yeah.
Raiders were, they were guilty plenty of times because we had the reality is like when a team is not good, you got to overpay.
Yeah,
you got to overpay in free agency.
No, facts. And the thing about Devontae is, I mean, I don't know how the league feels about him, but I think all this like this podcast and stuff he's been doing, all these interviews, I think it's low key damaging his reputation a little bit because he doesn't come off he doesn't come off that great in a lot of these interviews. So I don't know how that's affecting his market or not, because if they still feel he could play, not like he's a malcontent yet. So if the talent outweighs some of the distractions, and then they'll go ahead and pay him. But like I said, if I'm a team, I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, bro, it's like you're supposed to be leadership, maturity guy, and now I'm seeing like maybe you're not that guy, and
Right.
you're on the wrong side of 32. And, like I'm not sure if I want to pay you what I was paying you before.
Chill, Ray. I seen that Devontae said he won't go to the Commanders. I think he was joking. I remember when I seen the quote, I was like, man, this dude's selfish as hell. But then when I actually seen the clip, I think he was joking. I think he really would consider the Commanders because he had a lot of good things to say about Jane Daniels. Like, I'm sure he would play for the Commanders if they, you got a good, solid contract on top of playing with a quarterback that could prolong his career. Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he has we've heard Devontae in interviews saying that he wants to be in the Hall of Fame and yada yada, which I'm not saying he's not going to be, but he wants to make sure he finishes on a strong note. Raider Paul has a question. He says severe with a question mark. I don't know what that means. He's severe and he says Pharaoh.
Yeah, it's me.
Yes, it's severe. It's severe. This say I can't believe y'all still talking fixed football. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Sacktown Raider Mike, man, it's all good, man. Appreciate you coming through. Man, salute to everybody pulling up. Make sure to clack in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Raider Smoke 89, man, my guy. He says Smoke. He says for those wanting Cup, I wouldn't mind picking him. Oh yeah, Cup is officially on the trade block.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't want to trade for him though.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to trade for him either.
And I wouldn't want to pay him too. So
yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
So if he wants to play for like free, then maybe we Raiders can consider Cup playing for the Raiders. I don't know how it would work, man. I don't think it's a good fit, to be honest with you. He's an aging wide receiver. He's been hurt a lot lately. I rather just the Raiders just go young or get some speed. I want some speed on the outside. Come on, like. We got the Jacoby Myers. Trey Tucker is more of a slot guy, a little small. I don't like him on the outside like that. If we can get some speed on the outside, or even a true number one, that'd be good. And then we can get some speed in some way, maybe in free agency or in the draft. We'll see. But yeah, Cup, man, it's a pass for me. How you feel about that, Severe?
It depends on what he's asking. I'm not trading for him. I'm not trading for him on that contract. The contract is I'm not trading for him on that contract. If it was a situation where no trade was able to materialize and we were able to pick him up as a free agent, he fits this offense. I think he fits this offense great. Even with Jacoby here, I think he'd be a great fit in this offense. Because UCLA, they didn't have a lot of reliable speed guys. Like their main speed guy they had was this guy named Casimir Allen, and he's essentially like a Trey Tucker, short guy, super fast, no hands, right? Like that same guy. But he was real. But Chip was real creative with how he used him. He would get the guy, wide open looks. He would run him on jet sweeps. He would like give him like tosses. Like he used them. He utilized those skills. Like, yo, look, I got this fast weapon that doesn't have the most reliable hands, but he's speedy. I'm going to get him the ball in space and create opportunities for him to use that speed. So like the UCLA didn't have a lot of fast, reliable receivers. Like the last one they had was, like I said, it was Casimir Allen, and they had J Mike, and then they woefully underused J Mike. They were mostly going to their big body receivers or they're like shorter, like quick route running type, Renfro type receivers. Whether that was Kyle Phillips before he got drafted by the Titans, or that was Logan Loya before Chip Kelly left. Like he likes those kind of guys. He likes precision route runners. Like that's what that's basically what he prefers. Now he's just so happened to get one at Ohio State that was also a freak athlete in Jeremiah Smith. So he took full advantage of it. But he likes guys that can run routes.
Okay. Shout out to Raider Paul. Says, tell me why it doesn't look. No, we live, bro. We live. I know we shoot an episode on every Friday around the Shield. Sometimes we go live, but sometimes it's pre-recorded. But this is a live show, so make sure to clack in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You know what? And that's another thing too, bro, because I know you're a big like UCLA fan. So like, so you're pretty good with the hire with Chip Kelly, because I know you had some time to watch him at UCLA and what it looked like offensively. Obviously he went on to go to be offensive coordinator for Ohio State this year, but you're pretty much, you feel like this is a good hire by the Raiders.
Yeah. I just feel like I saw what he was able to do with very limited talent. Like, UCLA is like the Raiders of college, the Raiders of college football. Like they're not attracting the best, it was like the Raiders when they, basically like the Raiders when they're in Oakland. The facility's not the best, not attracting the best talent. Don't have the most money to spend on people. Like, like it's basically that same situation. We're not going to get a whole bunch of talent. We're going to get the scraps that other people don't want, or guys that are graduate transfers from other school looking to have get a degree at UCLA and have that on their resume, because they probably aren't going to go pro, or maybe not go pro for a long amount of time. So it's like, hey, if I got a degree from the #1 public institution in the world, that looks good, for my future employer. So that's the kind of people that UCLA can attract. And Chip Kelly was able to put up stupid, crazy numbers with those guys. And then when he had a legit, #1 running back, when he got Zach Charbonnet from the Michigan Wolverines, I want to say they had the #1 run, the #1 offense in the nation. So like that's the kind, and that's with a guy like DTR, who was like a third, fourth round pick.
Who does he play with right now? That running back.
DTR, I think he's still with. No. Oh, that's with the Seahawks.
Charbonnet, he's with the Seahawks.
The Seahawks. He's with the Seahawks.
You think that could be a trade? You think they're gonna possibly give him up in a trade? You think they'll?
Give up Kenneth Walker. I mean, if I'm them, I'm giving up Kenneth Walker. I think he's better than Kenneth Walker, in my opinion. But but I don't know. I don't know how they feel. But as soon as he started getting touches up there, he put up numbers. So there's another guy that the Seattle has that I can see the Raiders going after, but his name is Jake Bobo, and he's a big body receiver. Apparently, he's been playing well up there. He's not really getting a lot of run, but he's been playing well up there. But if they let DK Metcalf go, he could be a guy that could be looking at an expanded role going forward. So I don't know if they'll be willing to part with them.
Callie George says, would y'all trade for Murray from the Cardinals? I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to do that, man, because I think we would have the money to take on his contract, but then it would just like it just would just, I feel like we need to do this right, bro. Let's build from the ground up. Let's draft well and just have prolonged success and be good for the next 5 to, like, if we do it right, you know what I mean? Like all the good teams, when they do it right, they're good for a good amount of time because they do it the right way by building through the draft and not, doing these big Band-Aids. I mean, trying to take shortcuts. And the Raiders, we've been taking shortcuts so many times in the past, bro. But then Kyle Murray's better than any quarterback that we've had since I don't know.
Gannon. Since Gannon.
Be honest, yeah. And I just hope that he doesn't have that mentality where, because we all remember, every time I think of Kyle Murray, I just think about what they had to do on his contract and tell him like, you gotta study film for this time. Like, damn, I've never seen that before.
Gotta stop playing Call of Duty and study film.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I'm a pass. I don't know how you feel about that, Sabir.
I mean, it's just that contract. Kyler Murray got a bunch of money. If it wasn't for that contract, because, man, it's like Kyler Murray and the Chip Kelly offense, we saw what he was able to do with Jeremiah Masoli, what he was able to do. I think he was offensive coordinator that first year when he had Dennis Dixon, and Dennis Dixon was on pace to win the Heisman before he got hurt. That was all Chip Kelly. Jeremiah Masoli started killing when he got when he started. We saw what he was able to do with Marcus Mariota, who was a 3-star recruit, out of Hawaii that nobody really heard about or cared about. He turned that guy from, a 3-star recruit into a Heisman Trophy winner and the #2 overall pick in NFL draft. So, I mean, when he has talent, like Nick Foles, when Mike Vick went down, Nick Foles that first year, like Nick Foles threw for 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. right? Nick Foles as a second-year player, right? So, like he can work with the quarterback, and if you give him a quarterback that has a lot of talent, he can do some great things with that talent. But it's just that I don't know if I trust Kyler Murray to stay committed enough, to see the fruits of that success.
I'm kind of excited to see what this offseason looks like because I feel like Pete Carroll is good. He made a comment during his presser how like he's going to get it going now. Like he's not waiting. This is not a situation where he's looking. It's a rebuild situation. Even though Mark Davis went out of his way to say, "I'll be patient," which we all know that's not the truth. Like Mark Davis is gonna say he's patient one day. The next day he's gonna be like, "I'm trying to get rid of this guy." So, look, we'll see how it shakes out. But it just sounds like Pete Carroll's like he wants to win now because we all know he's not. He's not the youngest guy out there. So if that's the case, then he's gonna get players that's gonna help him win now. And you gotta think about what that trade market is gonna look like. And I know we pass on Murray, but if Murray's available, then maybe Pete Carroll's familiar with Kyle Murray. He played him twice a year when he was with the Seahawks against the Cardinals. Yeah. Geno Smith, is he available? That can be an option. We all know Russell Wilson is available. That can be an option. An option that I can see happening, and you're gonna hate this.
You better not say it. I'll end the show right now. I'll end the show. It'll be the 50 show. You be doing this by yourself.
Justin Fields, man, I can see it happening with a guy like Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly can make Justin Fields work. I can see it happen. I know you made it a point to say that he can make it work with any type of quarterback, but I think he prefers someone that can move around back there. Yeah. So a guy like Justin Fields, he's available. I don't know if he wants to do it with Russell Wilson. A lot of it's funny, the Steelers, I've been paying attention to the Steelers, side of the football right now. Like I've been looking at like how they feel about the quarterback situation, and they want to keep Justin Fields. They don't want Russell Wilson. And Justin, I'm saying this because like I know you're not the biggest Justin Fields guy. Like if they had to choose between Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, they're going with Justin Fields all the way. And what they're trying to do.
Steelers fans.
Yeah.
Steelers. Yeah, exactly. Steelers fans. These are the same Steelers fans that when like Justin Fields had gone, I think what he gone like 4-2, scoring over 20 one time. They're like, oh, why are you gonna mess up this good thing you got going here? You're winning. And Mike Tomlin was like, no, I'm starting. Remember, George Pickens gave it away. Like, oh man, Russell Wilson out there looking good in practice. No, that's getting ready to start. He snitched. He snitched. And then they were going up against the Robert Saleh coach New York Jets, not the Jets. After he's going against those Jets. And he went out there, and the team that hadn't scored more than 20, scored 20 only one time the entire year, put up 35 on one of the better defenses in the league at that time, right? In his first game starting, not having any real chemistry with those receivers. And we saw how, George Pickens, one of the most disgruntled people in all the NFL, we saw how happy he was playing with Russell Wilson. Like Russell Wilson took the offense to an entirely different level. So, it's funny that people will be like, oh, like Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches of all time, right? One of the most respected guys in the league, one of the best football minds we've seen. Like he had both Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. And even though Justin Fields had been winning games, he's like, nah, bro, give me Russell Wilson. Like I'm gonna go with Russell Wilson. So even when Russell Wilson had some struggles down the stretch, at no point did he say, I'm going to pull Russell Wilson and start Justin Fields. He never at any point did that happen. So like that tells you that I think that tells you a lot right there. If that even on that team that if they get some better quarterback play, maybe they have a better seeding, maybe they don't, maybe they win that playoff game. He still elected to stick with Russ over Justin Fields, and he had been seeing Justin Fields in practice all year long, all offseason. So I mean, I'm good. I mean, I think we can get average play out of Justin Fields, but Justin Fields is not a good decision maker. He holds on the ball way too long, takes way too many sacks. So it's I mean, I don't, like I said, I think Chip can make the average guys work. He made Nick Foles work, like, for 2 years. He can make an average guy work, but I'd rather go a different direction.
We'll see, man. Another guy too is Marcus Mariota. Obviously, his past with Chip Kelly. This is years ago, obviously, when he played for Oregon in college. But he's going to be a free agent. That could be an option where, a bridge option. And obviously they're going to – I think no matter what, I think the Raiders are going to draft a QB. You would think.
They have to.
I said that last year, and then they didn't draft the QB. So I'm going to say that they don't. I'm going to say they don't do it. So then, reverse psychology, hopefully the universe somehow gets a QB at number 6 or whatever the case may be. But I'm hoping
we didn't need a quarterback. We had the toughest linebacker in the draft. Why drop the QB when you can have that guy?
You ain't never gonna let it go. You ain't never gonna let it go.
I will say this, and some people will some people will thumb their nose up at Marcus Mariota. He's only 31 years old. Like Russell Wilson is 37. I think Geno Smith is 35. Like, he's only 31 years old. So, I'd prefer him over Justin Fields. That's close. That one's close. I'd probably edge Marcus Mariota, but that's close though.
So Buddy says Joe Milton is the best option for the Raiders. So I seen something, and I guess the Patriots media is putting it out there saying that Joe Milton might be on the trade, could possibly be on the trade block. They're going to see what they can get for him, because they obviously Drake May is their quarterback of the future. So, a guy like Joe Milton, they can easily trade. Do you see the Raiders? It's hard for me to, it's hard to connect the dots, because there's no one in that, like, Joe Milton is such I don't want to say polarizing player, but there's no one in the building that's familiar with Joe Milton. That's like, I don't know how that would happen. I would want it to happen. Yeah. Just as a fan, like, oh yeah, of course. Like, we all know that he's physically capable of playing that quarterback position. As far as, the physical attributes, we all know he has a crazy arm, athletic. He looked good out there when he in limited action, but how is it going to look?
Al Davis, man. You're a real Al.
Hey, man, born and raised.
You're Al Davis, the sniper.
Hey, Al Davis.
Just win, baby.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm gonna say, man. Look, hey. I love the biggest, the fastest, strongest, man. Hey, look, if Joe Milton is out there, I wouldn't be mad at it, but it depends on what the compensation would look like. I don't see it happening, to be honest with you. I just don't see any connection, anybody in the building. I mean, unless like Chip Kelly, is a big fan of him or something like that. But I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either, just because, we'd have to give up probably more than he might end up being worth. And you never want to be in that position, right? Like, I don't think he showed enough to warrant like a fourth or a fifth. And that's likely what, just based off his potential and like those little brief glimpses we got, that might be what the Patriots are asking for, right? You think about how Pete Carroll and in Seattle and them, they got fleeced by Matt Flynn, where they saw Matt Flynn went crazy in that last game of the season, but I think he put up like 400 yards or whatever, and then they gave him a fat contract, and he ended up being a waste of money, because they bet on that limited glimpse that he was able to show them. So I think Pete Carroll probably learned his lesson. Hopefully John Spytek is wise enough to not fall for that mistake either.
Willis on the Packers. Do you see that possibly happening? Is he a free agent? I don't know if he's a free agent. Is he a free agent? Or is he still on a rookie deal? I mean, I know they traded for him. I know the Packers traded for him from Tennessee. Is he still on a rookie deal? I don't know if he's a free agent.
I think he might be a free agent.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's that would be random if the Raiders brought him in. I'd be surprised. Usually there got to be some type of connection, but I don't know. I would like it. It'd be interesting. Throw him in there. You know what I mean? We need the talent. Like the Raiders had arguably the worst quarterback room in the NFL. The worst.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me, hey, can we get this guy? I'm gonna be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We need as much talent in that room. Let the best man win that job. Most likely, it's gonna be the guy that they draft early in that first round, or whoever they trade for, or give big money to be that bridge. That's probably gonna be. Willis is not gonna be a guy that they're gonna give a whole lot of money for, even though he looks solid with the Packers in limited action. But how much of that was the Packers offense and them running the football and, pretty much
the
not really
line in that run game.
Exactly. So it's kind of hard to say. But man, people talking about Will Howard out of Ohio State.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Will Howard like that.
I think they'll try to. Joshua, I think they're going to try to get. From what I've seen, they're trying to get a mid pick. The most I'll give for Joe Milton is a 4th, and that might be too much.
I'm not even.
It's because it's kind of risky.
It's
too risky.
I'm giving a 6th that can be a 5th with like playing time. Like if he starts 14 games, like it'll be a 5th. It's something like that. I'm not giving up any higher than that.
I hear you. Yeah. But Joe Milton say for a 5th because did he get drafted he got drafted in 6th, so I'm sure they're gonna want to get something more than that. So whoever bites on that deal. I mean, maybe it was the team. Who did the Patriots play where he actually played again? Like maybe that might be that team that trades for him.
I don't remember.
I'm trying to think. I wasn't watching Joe Milton football this year, but just limited action.
Exactly.
I mean, he didn't play too much. He came in limited action. Looked solid. Let's see what Giants saying. Dart at 3rd. Man, I think that's one of like the most polarizing players because some people think that Dart is gonna go in the later rounds, like after the first round, second round, and then there's some people who think that might go in the first. There's people saying that too as well. So it's gonna be crazy. Jordan Travis might be healthy next season. Nah, I'm cool.
He came off the devastating injury, and he's kind of small too, and he's older too. Like he's smaller, older, and he's just coming off a devastating injury. I mean, he was electric when he was healthy at Florida State, but that's unless you're getting them for free for nothing, I'm not taking a chance on him.
I got you, Marty.
Hell no, to the no.
They want a 3rd for Milton. Hell no. I got you. Yeah. Get that for Cooper Kupp. Nah, I'm cool. Let's forget it. Just forget it. We're not gonna do none of those. If Bo Nix fit Peyton, who is it pick? Let's see. Who fit Chip Kelly's system? Man. I mean, a lot of people connecting the dots with Will Howard. I'm not sure about that one. But you know what?
Jackson Dart is a better fit.
Or maybe a Cam Ward. I would love to see Cam Ward.
Cam Ward would be a perfect fit. Cam Ward would be a perfect fit. Perfect fit.
But the likelihood of that happening, the Raiders have to trade up. That would be actually the most surprising thing is the Raiders trade up and they don't draft Shedeur Sanders. They draft Cam Ward because everything. If you notice, a lot of like people have been connecting the dots between Shedeur and the Raiders, not Cam Ward and the Raiders.
Yeah.
So
because of the Tom Brady thing.
Because of Tom Brady, and obviously the Raiders are picking 6, so they're gonna look at it from a perspective like, oh, who the Raiders most likely will get, and then like you said, there's that Tom Brady connection. But we'll see, man. It's gonna be interesting, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But it's that time. It's that time, man. Y'all already know what time it is, man. It's flag on the play.
69 offense. He was giving them the business.
So over the weekend, man, hey, look, flag on the play. If you're just joining us for the first time, man, this is where we talk about anything that's worth giving a flag, whether it's in football, outside of football, it doesn't matter. In this case, I think the biggest news in sports was a trade, NBA trade between the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic, I can't even say his name. He ended up getting traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, which we never seen before. I think I seen a stat that said this is the first time in NBA history that 2 all NBA players get traded, which is crazy to even think about. Yeah, it was crazy. And he's 25 years old, so you don't really see like a player in his prime. You know, it's kind of like when we talk about free agency, you don't see a lot of blue chip players go into free agency. Like usually they get franchise. You know, usually a lot of the best free agents are like 27, 28. They're looking for their second big contract. Yeah. But in this case, we're talking about NBA, and the big flag is, I guess, you know, them trading Luka Doncic. I think you talked about this, and I think he played for his house, $15 million for a house, not too long ago before he got traded. Yeah. So huge flag on the play, but that's not the only flag. I'm not gonna lie, and this will, and we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip, and it talks about how he was eligible for a Supermax deal, and now that he's been traded to the Lakers, he loses out on a lot of money. And I'm gonna go ahead and play this video here so y'all can get an idea of, oh man, what happened? Hold on one second. Oh, yeah, here we go.
The Mavericks cost Luka Doncic well over $116 million by trading him to the Lakers. Doncic was in line to receive a 5-year, $345 million Supermax contract extension in the offseason. To receive a Supermax, you must be with one team. So now, since he was traded, the most he can make is a 5-year, $229 million contract extension with the Lakers. To make matters worse, he has to go from paying no state income tax in Texas to a 14.4% state income tax in California. Because Luka is 25 years old, he'll likely push for a 3-year contract extension, which makes him eligible to receive somewhat of a Supermax when he hits 10 years of service time. Players with 10 years of service can sign a deal worth 35% of a team's cap, which is the same percentage as a Supermax for those between 7 and 9 years of service time. The Mavericks...
Man, that's crazy, man. Over like 117 million lost this year. Like, flag on, is this a flag on a play on Luka, or is it a flag on a play on Dallas? Because what happened? We all know what, like, we all heard the reports. It's due to his conditioning and him, you know, not just being available and getting hurt. He was dealing with the same injury that, like, 3 years in a row, and they all know it's due to his condition. They felt like he doesn't play defense and yada yada. But I'm like, when a player, you don't see that too often, where a player is losing 100, like he's losing out on over $100 million. It got to be something bigger than that. It got to be something. It got to be some type of scandal, you know, that has something to do with someone, you know, the owner's wife or something. I don't know what's going on, but $100 million he ends up losing. A lot of people say, oh, he gets to make that up. But the thing is that, like, he's not even eligible to even sign that this year, even if he wanted to. Yeah. And you know, that video did say that, you know, he most likely might sign like a 3-year deal so he can re-up and get some of that money back. But still, he loses out on that much money. Flag on a play, man, everybody involved. I mean, like, you got the Dallas Mavericks who are losing out on a 25-year-old player who pretty much are like, they're betting against them. They're betting against a Luka, a 25-year-old player who damn near averages a triple-double. Yeah. It's crazy, man. What's your thoughts on the whole situation?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you said, this is unprecedented. This is like the craziest trade, probably the craziest trade I've ever seen. And to trade a young superstar, a guy that's, you know, widely regarded as, you know, the second or third best player in the league, like, just took his team to the finals last year. Has, you know, I think he's been in the league 6 years. 5 of those years, he's been first team All NBA. It means, like, he was considered the best player at his position and one of the 5 best players in the league, like 5 years in a row. Went to the conference finals the year before, went to the finals last year, and y'all get rid of him because, like y'all say, he like his conditioning over there. Like, bro, that's crazy. Like, if Jamarcus Russell was taking us to AFC Championship games, bro, drink all the purple Sprite you want. I don't give a damn, bro. If you out there producing, that's all that matters. So, like it's crazy. And the thing that's crazy is that like those self-fulfilling prophecies, like like when you find out like your future is going to happen, so to avoid that future you make all these moves to avoid it, but in making those moves you manifest it happening. That's essentially what the Mavericks did, because all this is going to do is just motivate Luka to be in the best shape of his life going forward, and to prove that they made the biggest mistake of their lives by trading the second best player in the history of their franchise behind Dirk. Like, that's, I mean, I think it's crazy, but I'm a Lakers fan, so I'm cool with it. I'm good with it. It's gonna work out for me, because the Lakers now, like what the Lakers were about is who's gonna be there. Like, almost like the Lakers were kind of in the same position that the Raiders are in with Pete Carroll. They were worried who's gonna be their standard bearer when LeBron leaves. LeBron is old for NBA standards, like Pete Carroll. And they were wondering, like, man, like, who's going to be the guy that's going to take over and be the face of our franchise? But this is essentially like, this is like the Vikings. No, this is like the Raiders needing like the next head coach of their franchise, and we trade Chip Kelly, for Kevin O'Connell. Like, we trade Chip Kelly and for Kevin O'Connell, right? Like, it's almost in that situation, right? Like, where it's like, oh damn, okay, well, we have a guy that your guy, he's probably going to be around for a little while.
We have a young,
it's but we have a young stud that's going to be able to take over. And the worries we had before about, hey, you know what, is this guy going, like, how people are worried, like, we don't know if we want Chip Kelly to be our next head coach. Like, Lakers fans like, we don't know if we want AD to be the face of our franchise, to be, our Batman, and we go out and find a Robin. Now we legitimately went out and found we went out and found like Nightwing. We got Batman and we got Nightwing now. Like, we don't have to worry about, once Batman retires, cool, bro. Nightwing, you take over. You do your thing now. Like, you the dude now. Like, so it's,
it was
crazy.
a win. It was a win for the Lakers for sure. Even the attempt, even if it doesn't, like, let's say, I want to say it doesn't work out, but like, let's say, he gets injured, like, the Lakers had to make the move. It was a win. It's crazy to say that you trade an all NBA player like Anthony Davis, a great player. I mean, he has his downfalls as well. Like, he could be injured at times or whatever, but he's still a great big man in this league. It's crazy to say that you traded him away, an all NBA player, and you won the trade. Yeah. You won the trade, and that other team, like, potentially could lose. I mean, I do like the Mavericks kind of have squad a little bit with, I can see them still being like the Lakers. On the other hand, I think it's going to take some time for them to put together a team around Luka, and Luka has to show that he can put in the time and effort. Like, he hasn't done that, like, in his career yet. I mean, that's crazy to say that he hasn't done that, and he's still, like, he's last year, he averaged 33 points. Didn't he average like 32 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, damn near triple-double last year.
So look, Luka. So people say Luka hasn't put in the time, he doesn't work hard. So Luka, by average, is averaging the third most points of all time. Only people averaging more points than him in the regular season are Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. In the playoffs, he averages the second most points all time. The only person in the playoffs averaging more points than him is Michael Jordan. So you trade that dude at 25. And you say, so let's say he hasn't been working out yet. You put him on a team with probably the most diligent worker of all time, who just happens to be his idol. What do you think gonna happen? I mean, look, it's crazy.
I'm not questioning the talent. What I'm saying is that the Dallas Mavericks, they're saying that, yeah, he's doing all this, but he's not going to do this for long. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to get hurt, because what happens is when you're not probably, you don't have a good work ethic, eventually, Father Time catches up to you. I mean, he's 25. It's crazy to say that, but like injuries could happen. Injuries happen sometimes, not because, oh man, you're unlucky. Sometimes it's because you're out of shape. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I remember growing up watching the Lakers, and what did Shaq used to do? Shaq used to like try to use the offseason. And the reason why Kobe and Shaq clashed a little bit was the fact that he used to use the season to get in shape.
Yeah. And
Kobe would put in all that time and effort and, and put in a lot of work during the offseason. And he wanted to be the guy, like, to get all the, to get the ball, whatever. That's a whole different conversation. But, like, that being said, it's work ethic. And Shaq could have been a way better player. What's crazy to say. It's kind of similar. Like, look, no one questioned the talent of Shaq, but he could have been, like you said, the greatest, or even mentioned as one of the. I mean, he's still mentioned. He's top 10 to me, in my opinion. Like, top 5.
He's top 10.
The top 10. Some people put him top 5. You know what I mean? Depending on who you talk to.
Well, he's top 10.
Look. It's who you grew up watching. Sometimes it's all about eras. Everybody there's a different era. You know what I mean? So. But I think he's definitely top 5 in the era that, we grew up in, like, for sure. Like, I mean, you wouldn't put Shaq in the top 5? And if you just going
in this era? Like,
yeah,
this era right now? Yeah. Right in this era, but you're talking about all time, though.
Yeah, because I was about to say Shaq was most dominant, but the problem is with Shaq, it was never the talent. For him, it was more so his work ethic, and I think it shortened his career. And that's what Dallas is basically saying. We're about to pay you $345 million.
Yeah,
and we feel like the things that you do are not going to get any better. It's probably going to make it even worse. Because you feel like you can get away with it. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, why would you trade a player like that? It's crazy.
But the thing is that, like, you got to look in the short term and in the long term at any trade you make, right? Like, we talk about this all the time. Generally, coaches are looking in the short term, and GMs are looking in the more long term, right? But this trade, it's dangerous for Dallas in both respects, because if they don't win the title this year, or win the title, within the next few years, this trade was a total loss for them, because they just went to the finals. So even with Luka,
it's hella risky.
Even with Luka, you went to the finals. So if you don't go to the finals and win it, then you are no better off than you were before with Luka. And then, you get to think about it like this. The two players that are considered, by most people that would consider better than Luka in the league are Jokic and Giannis. And I think Jokic, they're both like 30, 31 years old, right? In 5 years, they're likely going to be out of the league or extremely diminished. In 5 years, Luka's going to be their age now. So in 5 years, he's going to probably be the best player in the league. And AD and those other two guys are going to either be out of the league or so diminished that they're not even in the conversation as best player in the league. So like it's long term and short term, the Mavericks could end up losing this trade.
Yeah. Now, and look, at the end of the day, like, time will tell. We got to see. I think it would make sense. We could see a Luka getting super motivated, and like, I'm sure he's pissed that he didn't get that. He's losing out on over $100 million. You know what I mean? Yes. And if he's gonna have the whole offseason to think about how, like, a franchise, everybody's gonna be talking about this. Like, man, like, no, we've never seen a franchise trade away a 25-year-old player just entering his prime, damn near, averaging a triple-double. Trade him away. We'll see. We'll see, man. Time will tell, man. But we wanted to give that a flag on the play. We'll let y'all decide. Is it a flag on the play on Dallas, or is it a flag on the play? Is it a flag on Luka, because he got himself out of there? You know what I mean? Because maybe whatever he did, he got that team to be like, no, we're not paying you $345 million. We know that you're 25 years old and you're averaging these many points and rebounds and yada 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 and assists, but we don't believe in you. They basically, that's what it is. And the GM, Joshua says Dallas GM tripping. The GM, he's gangster. I mean, he traded away Jalen Brunson, and we all know what he did with he's the star out there in New York. So this could backfire. But he also took a risk on trading for, Kyrie. So we'll see. We'll see who wins it. I mean, do you think the Dallas has a good chance of going back to this finals this year?
Not really. I mean, I would say this, like, this is a good a chance of any, because there's no real dominant team out there. Like, the best team in the West is Oklahoma City Thunder. They're not at 100% right now. So, and Dallas has enough size to really give them some issues on the offensive end, just because, they got some big bodies. They got AD, they got Derek Lively, they got Gafford. So they have the size down low to cause some problems. But, the best player in that series is going to be SGA. And he can single-handedly win that series. He's that good of a player. So, if like I said, if they don't go to back to the finals, at least this is a complete failure. If they don't win the finals within like the next three or so years, then it's going to be one of the worst trades of all time.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. Mavs didn't want to pay him. Yeah, they didn't, and it's gonna be interesting. The one thing I will say though, if LeBron doesn't get traded, if he doesn't waive his no trade clause, because some people are speculating that LeBron might want out because he was blindsided. You know what I mean? Like, we'll how that goes. But Luka has a chance to soak up some game from one of the greatest players of all time. He'll be able to see how one of the greatest players of all time works. And we all know what type of impact that could have on players, because I remember when Kobe went to the Olympics and it had a huge impact on, the Dwayne Wades and the LeBrons and the players that played in the Olympics. They could see his work ethic up front and personal. And then obviously, you got guys in their prime. They were able to apply that to their work regimen. Can you see a Luka kind of like learning from LeBron James and how to work? Because if people are questioning his work ethic, then a guy like LeBron should be able to like motivate him at least. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's in the building.
Exactly. Because I think the best player he's played with is Kyrie, right? Like, I think he played with Dirk for a real little while, but it's not long enough to really make an impact. And you think about it, LeBron is the guy he idolized. He said it on numerous occasions. Like, that was his favorite player. That's who he models his game after. So if you got that guy you idolize, you see at 40 years old, just put up a 30-point triple-double tonight. He's averaging like 34, 9, and 8 at 40. Like, that's like, you're going to listen to what that guy says. You're going to listen to like, hey, you know what? You might have lost out on this $100 million. Know how you make up on that $100 million? By playing into your late 30s, right? And getting max contracts after the age of 35. The only way to do that is by taking care of your body. And I can show you how to do it. So, I just think it's just going to be I will give the GM credit here is that, he went out there and he faced the music. He didn't hide behind press releases. He didn't talk to the media in those scrums. He went out there and he faced them like a man. And that's more than we can say, for a lot of these owners and executives in all of these leagues.
No, for real, man. We'll see how it shakes out. It makes the NBA kind of interesting too. Not gonna lie. But it's a whole different sport, man. We still got to talk about the Raiders today. But before we get on, man, we got another flag on the play. If you want to give the intro to this real quick.
Yeah, man. As we all know, everybody's favorite player in this. I mess with you. Patrick Mahomes is going for his fourth Super Bowl. Is his third in a row, and everybody knows Patrick Mahomes' wife. We see her and Taylor Swift dancing and doing handshakes and chest bumps and all this stuff. She's kind of made herself a little bit of a viral sensation. But there's another moment that should be viral, and it's talking about Patrick Mahomes' cheat meal. Cheating, but
what's my favorite cheat day meal?
Fried chicken.
No.
Chicken fried steak.
No.
And mashed potatoes.
Mexican food. Especially the Tex-Mex. What's my
You gotta play that beginning part one more time, bro. She said it was.
We'll play it again.
What's my favorite cheat day meal?
Fried chicken.
No.
Chicken fried steak.
No.
And mashed potatoes.
Mexican food.
Oh.
Especially the Tex-Mex. What's my
Man, how do you get that wrong? How did you get like you're supposed to? That's your husband. That's the best quarterback in the league. Like, how do you not know the cheat meal? And you just gonna go and say fried chicken? That's crazy,
bro. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. Like, that's crazy. How would you let your how you go out there and embarrass your husband like that? Like, oh my goodness, you could have said anything.
Part of me is like, it looked kind of fake though. It looked kind of fake,
bro.
Because the way he reacted, the way he reacted, it was hella like, you know what I mean? Like he was trying to like act. Like, I'm trying to give you a real reaction, but it was like, because you know sometimes when someone says something and they didn't expect it, like you could see how they react. You'd be like, oh, like damn, that was real. But like the way he reacted was like I was like, what are you? You playing it?
But you know what? It could be a situation where he's somebody that has media training, or he's like, cause it might have been everything in his system, everything in his soul was saying to be like B, wait, what? Like what you say?
Right.
But he had to be like, yo, I got to be Patrick Mahomes right now. I got to be Kansas City Chiefs quarterback MVP, Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes. I can't be, I can't be I can't go off like I want to go off right now. So I think that might have been a little bit of self-preservation. But if it was fake, because if it's not fake, it's a flag on her. But if it was fake, oh, it's the hugest flag on Patrick Mahomes. The hugest flag on Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, Austin has something to say about the last flag on the play. He says, yeah, but Harden was always been suspect at best of defense, and these Rocket years, the Warriors knew he couldn't play US all game with how much he was on the ball. He was comparing him to Harden.
I think somebody was talking about Luka as Harden, but Luka's way better. Luka's way better than Harden. Luka's way better. Luka is.
But I'm not gonna lie. Like Luka does not play any defense though. It's like terrible.
Not playing defense.
It's like zero.
But Jokic don't play no defense either though. And they won a title.
Yeah, but man, it's crazy, man. 25 years old, man, superstar. Lakers for sure won the deal. They won the deal. They won the deal. It's because it's a great gamble on their end. It's not if it doesn't work out, no one's gonna be mad at the Lakers.
Yeah,
no one's gonna be
like,
have
to make that deal.
What were the Lakers thinking? No, they did right. Like I seen a tweet. It was funny. It was like they played out the conversation between the GM with the Lakers and Dallas, and he was like, we're trying to trade for AD, and then they were like, the Lakers said no, and then like, we'll trade you Luka. Okay, well he'll be there in the morning.
Facts, bro. It's like
that was an easy conversation. It was probably like one
easy
phone
conversation,
call.
Bro.
Yeah.
Easy conversation. Like, bro, like, look, you think about this. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves traded the Utah Jazz like 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. The Lakers gave up AD and 1 first-round pick and 1 like rotational player.
Oh, like Austin, was he a free agent? Oh, maybe they let him walk. They could have signed him, but they let him walk. Brunson.
Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, I think they let him walk. But
they could have brought him back though. I think the GM probably could have brought him back, but they
should have brought him back. Mm-hmm. But I think he either had a down playoff series or he got hurt in the playoff series. Because I was rooting hard for Dallas to. Who were they playing in that series? I can't remember. I was rooting hard for Dallas to win that series, and they ended up losing because Brunson. I think Brunson got hurt, and then they let him walk right after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That pick and roll is gonna be crazy. And like I know Kyrie, I think I seen something where he lost his brother, and I'm still in a grieving process. It was a weird ass comment, but Kyrie sometimes be saying stuff in like weird ways. But Kyrie and AD in the pick and roll is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be nice, bro. And I think Kyrie, I think this is gonna be big for his legacy because people always question Kyrie as that number one guy. And we know AD is a great player, and you could arguably say that he obviously better than Kyrie, but Kyrie, you know, he's gonna be the number one. You could say he's probably gonna be the number one option on the team. He's probably the number one scorer. He's probably gonna be the guy with the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter.
Definitely.
I think if the Dallas, they somehow, some way they're able to, get through the playoffs, come out the West, and win a championship, this will be huge for Kyrie. It'll change the whole narrative. I mean, it's we all knew that it was because of LeBron they won the championship, and obviously Kyrie played a hand in it with that big shot he had in the finals. But it's always been like, oh, he had LeBron. Before LeBron got there, they weren't winning. He went to Dallas. He went to Boston. He messed up their chemistry. They weren't as good. He left. They were better. Yeah. Then he went to Brooklyn, and then it's just kind of like,
messed up their chemistry.
Messed up their chemistry. But then he goes to Dallas, and they get to the finals. But then, because of Luka leading the way, though. It's still Luka. Oh, exactly. He had Luka. But now it's Luka and AD. And he could capitalize on this situation if he's able to focus and get it done this year. But we'll see, man. That's a whole man. It does make basketball a little bit more interesting though, because it's off topic. Definitely. But Spurs are loaded. Spurs kind of like made some moves too.
Yeah, they made some moves too. Yeah, they made some moves. And they kept most of their players too. Most of their good players. Like they kept Vassell, they kept Sohan, they kept Stephen Castle. Like they got a good little squad.
Shout out to Raider Smoke, man. Appreciate the super chat, man. My guy. He says not gonna matter. KD running it back with the Dubs. So is KD in the trade market? Is he? Are they trying to trade KD?
The Dubs called about him. They called about him and they called LeBron. Dubs called about everybody, bro. They called about Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler said no, he don't want to go there. Yeah. They called about KD. They called about LeBron. LeBron said no, he don't want to go there, or he don't want to get traded at this time.
Because the Warriors, low key, they're done. They're done, man. It was nice, bro. Man. It was
Draymond looking old, bro. Draymond looking bad. Yeah. Clay is gone.
But Clay didn't look like Clay though. After the injury, Clay wasn't looking like Clay was looking. Yeah, he was a struggle Clay. He was looking like a struggle Clay, because they were dependent on him to be the number 2 option, and he wasn't the number 2 guy. Like he wasn't the same player. I mean, he's with Dallas right now, so maybe he has a different role, different scenery. He might be playing better with Dallas. I'm not sure how he's doing over there, but
he's whatever.
What was it? Didn't he go like 0 for 11 or 0 for 12 like his last playoff game? It was disgusting. It was a nasty game. Yeah. I was like, ugh, this is embarrassing. Like, take him out the game, coach. Like, give him a layup or something. You said what?
I said KD probably might get traded soon. I think they held him out of a game recently. Or he's being held out of because he's in trade rumors. I think they play tomorrow, or for some people on the East Coast they play tonight. And he's in trade rumors. So the trade deadline is Thursday. So if they don't want to play that last game and potentially get hurt, so they're holding him out. So there's a chance he gets traded. I don't know where.
See, look, the biggest mistake was KD leaving the Warriors the first time around. Like, what was he? Man, like they could have won a few more championships. You know what I mean? Possibly. Yeah. But when obviously he ended up leaving, and then the whole situation with Clay, him getting hurt, injuries, and all that type of stuff like that happened. But if KD stayed with the Warriors, man, that would have been it was never the same, because KD went to different teams. Even though KD was always going to be KD, like he played well. I remember that, man. It was a playoff game I was watching when he was with the Nets. Oh man, he was getting off.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it the Nets versus Celtics? It might have been the Nets versus Celtics.
Where you say KD?
Oh man, he almost tied the game too. This is a random.
Oh yeah. It was the
his
the
foot
Bucks.
Was on the line.
I think was
his foot on the line?
Was the Bucks.
Was it the Bucks? Oh,
yeah.
He was getting off, bro.
I think his toe was on. Yeah, I think it was the Bucks.
That game, I was like, golly, but yeah, man, he would have been nice, man, if he stayed with the Warriors.
It might have been the Celtics, but I remember what you're talking about, because he had that shot that was supposed to like tie the game.
Oh man, It was nice. A little step. I think it was a step back. Was it a step back?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think that was probably the biggest mistake was by KD was wanting, because I know why he did it, because Draymond, and he just be messing up shit sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Bruh, like what did he smack the crap out of that? I don't know how he's doing with
Jordan Poole.
Is Jordan Poole playing well with
trash?
He's trash?
No, he's trash.
Oh, damn. He hasn't been the same since he got smacked.
No, ain't been the same, bro. That'll mess your confidence up for the rest of your life, bro. That'll destroy you for the rest of your life.
No, but the reason why I say Draymond though, but he actually told he was telling KD like we didn't need you or something like that. Pretty much, Steph. Was it? It was something like that. He said we didn't need you, or you won a championship because of us. Like you came here to win. Because what's weird about what KD did, like he almost beat the Warriors with the Thunder, and then that free agency he just joined. He just signs with them.
They were up 3-1.
Oh,
they were up 3-1 and lost.
Man, we're on a basketball tangent right now, man.
Yeah.
Hey, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We got more to talk about. We got some Raiders stuff to talk about too as well. We see the chat going crazy. Man, Luka plays Matador. Yeah, man, it's terrible. It's trash. Man, what's Luka trading in NFL terms? Ooh, okay, that's a good question. Look, like a comparable trade that really happened?
No, probably not when that really happened. Probably like
Khalil Mack?
What it is. Nah, not even that.
I just seen that. I see Raider Post. Shout out to Raider Post.
Raiders just fumbled the bag on that. If the Raiders would have drafted properly, that would have been a great trade for them. They just fumbled the bag on it.
No. You know it's crazy. It ended up being a great trade for the Raiders, meaning that like the Bears end up like cutting ties. Like he never seen the end of that contract.
No, yeah,
I believe they ended up trading him to the Chargers, and like you said, like the Raiders. Man, if they just could draft just how many first round picks they had? Like 3-4 first round picks.
They got 2 from that trade and they squandered them. It was one was Josh Jacobs. The other was what was the other one?
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper. I think the other one was Damon Arnett. I'm trying to think their first round picks they got from that trade. I think one was Josh Jacobs, one was Damon Arnett. Jonathan Abram was the Amari Cooper pick.
Jonathan Abram?
Was the Amari Cooper pick, yeah.
Okay,
that's the pick we got from Amari Cooper.
That was a bad pick too. That was a terrible pick.
That was a terrible pick, bro. You get a safety that can't cover in a passing league.
It's like that was John Gruden like thinking that it was 1999. You know what I mean? Like he thought it was 2000. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's and we confirmed it too. We all knew it. We all knew it just based off how this, what John Gruden was getting paid. But just hearing, Mayock talk about the whole dynamic, just hearing Mark Davis recently, where he talks when he was sitting down with the media after, the presser with Pete Carroll. He talks about how like John Gruden was supposed to be the football guy.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to be the guy making the big decisions with draft picks and all this. So if you want to connect the dots to all the first round picks that didn't work out, it was because of John Gruden. It was John.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a trade. It will be like, It will be like, damn. I'm trying to think of a team that don't got no quarterback. I'm trying to think of a guy. It'll be like.
It'd be like a young QB getting traded for.
Yeah, but it'd be like Luka's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow in this stretch, right? He's one of the best at his position. Took his team to the Super Bowl and lost. But still considered, only maybe 2 guys ahead of him. Maybe you put Pat and Lamar ahead of him, but he's third. And then so that's Luka. He's still fairly young, but has the ability to probably be like one of those guys.
That's actually hard to even like because Yeah, you could say Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, is he 25? He got to be older than 25.
No, he's older than that. Yeah, because remember, NFL players can't even. They can't even get to the. But he's still by quarterback terms, he's still young. He's probably like 28, 20, 29, something like that. By quarterback terms, he's still young. So it'd be like trading trading Joey Bosa and Daniel Henley for Joe Burrow. But if the Chargers don't have Herbert already, they don't have Herbert. You trade Joey Bosa and Dan Henley for Joe Burrow.
It got to be better. It got to be a better player because AD's actually he's a great player. He's a great player.
Joey Bosa. Well, when Joey Bosa is healthy, he's up there. All right, so let's say okay. So let's say this. Okay, let's say that you trade Nick Bosa, he former Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa, and I'm trying to think some Dre Greenlaw, Dre Greenlaw for Joe Burrow. Nick Bosa and Dre Greenlaw for Joe Burrow.
The point is, y'all,
put Joe Burrow on the 49ers.
The point is that like Luka, even though AD is a great player in his own right, it was a win for the Lakers. It's crazy trade. Like you don't ever see that something like that happening. But it's going to be crazy to see the impact of that trade. Like do players and how they move and what they do. Like I think it's someone made a point the other day about how like the owners, because the NBA is kind of known as a players league.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Butler, like that whole situation. I don't know if you've been paying attention to that. Like,
he been getting he keep getting himself suspended. He's trying to force his way to the Suns. He wants to go to the Suns. So every time teams call and inquire about trading for him, he tells the team, "I'm not going to re-sign with you." So they're like, "All right, well, we ain't go trade for you then." So he's really trying to force Miami's hand, and he'll probably be able to do it.
But I could see someone. I could see I could see them being petty. I could see what's the guy that's running the Heat, the former coach of the Lakers. I could see him being petty. I can see him be ruthless and be like, guess you.
Pat Riley's ruthless like that.
Yeah, he'll like, I guess you're not playing for the rest of the year. You won't have to wait till next year where you're another year older. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, man. Enough about basketball, man. I know we could talk about that all day, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Arnie Garza says, "Spike, they're going to be aggressive free agency or the NFL draft." I think both. I can see both.
And we got notable quotables that'll kind of back that up a little bit.
Hey, let's go see it, man. Let's talk about it. You over here said notable quotables, man. Let's give the intro to first a notable quotable.
Yeah, man. So we already know Albert Breer. He's a respected guy, respected reporter. Right now he got a lot more respect than people who write for a certain team. They've been getting thrashed on Twitter. But he recently gave a sit-down interview, and one of the topics he spoke about were the Raiders and how they're approaching this offseason. He touched on a number of things: their pursuit of Ben Johnson, their hiring of Chip Kelly, and the role their minority owners are playing in their plans going forward. And I will say that if you've been watching the 50-50 show, you know that me and Pharaoh, we called all of this. We said every single one of these things we said. So you'll make sure y'all like, subscribe, hit those notification bells.
No, thanks.
The whole idea for them was assess the openings and then decide which job we could legitimately see ourselves taking. And so there were a number of jobs that they decided they wouldn't see themselves taking. And so they communicated to those teams quietly, don't even bother putting a request in. We don't want to embarrass you. We don't want to look like jerks. So please we'll respectfully decline here. We won't have to do anything officially where we're saying no to you, and everybody will go on their merry way. Well, the Raiders were one of those teams, and despite all of that, the Raiders still put a request in. Johnson's camp wasn't happy about it. They wind up calling the Raiders. And the Raiders basically said, we're going to get you on the phone with Tom Brady.
Man, that's definitely interesting that they went about that. It's kind of funny, too, because they ignored everything and they end up doing it.
Yeah.
which makes sense, and how everything turned out. Obviously, we heard from the agent too as well. I think he was in a podcast talking about how they pretty much took advantage of all the noise about the Raiders being a top contender for Ben Johnson, and eventually got a good contract for him. That being said, I kind of respect it though a little bit by the Raiders in that, Tom Brady, he knew what he was up against. Yeah. I'm sure in the past the Raiders would have been like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we'll respect that and move on to the next candidate. And then we would have been wondering like, damn, how come the Raiders didn't even try to talk to Ben Johnson, or how come the Raiders didn't make an attempt to talk to this big candidate or whatever? But Tom Brady, he didn't care. He wanted to get Ben Johnson in the room. He wanted to go do whatever it takes to get the guy that he felt like was one of the best options out there at head coach. And he made it known. And Albert Beer, he went on to say, and even other media outlets talked about how, like, the Raiders made it known to candidates that they interviewed that money will not be a problem. And we talked about earlier in the show where, Chip Kelly getting $6 million, Patrick Graham getting a raise. I'm sure all the other assistants are getting compensated well. Yeah. And so he's following through on what he was sent, the message that he was sending to a lot of the candidates that he was interviewing. And I'm sure, I wouldn't say he made it interesting. I think they probably were like, oh, okay, Tom Brady's pretty serious. They had a lot of respect for Tom Brady, and they, whatever the case may be, but obviously ultimately Ben Johnson ended up going to the Bears. But now looking at it and just hearing everything, I kind of like it. I kind of like what Tom Brady is doing right now, the effect of Tom Brady. He's doing whatever it takes to get the best guys in the building so the Raiders can win. And that's all we can ask for, in my opinion. I didn't like at first when I heard it, I'm like, man, Raiders went ahead and just, but the more I think about it,
almost thirsty.
Yeah, it's a little thirsty, but he's trying. And you start thinking about the Raiders are really in no position to have, top candidates, come knocking on their door. Like, they have to work for stuff. They have to do whatever it takes. They're going to have to figure out a way to get the best guys in the building. And hopefully this season, and getting some of these guys in the building and pretty much following through on paying some of these guys, other people are watching them like, oh, okay, you know what? The Raiders are going to be an option. They're going to be a player in the future in free agency when it comes to top candidates. That's what we can hope for. But what was your take on it when you heard Albert Beer? And I believe Albert Beer, by the way. I think Albert Beer is one of a good source out there when it comes to stuff like this. But go ahead.
So this is exactly what I thought. It's like what I've been saying the whole time. The Raiders were like never in it. They were never in it. They never had a chance. The only reason he took the interview, as I said on many occasions, was because Tom Brady asked him to take it. And that's essentially what Albert Breer said. If you get a chance to talk to Tom Brady, the greatest winner of all time, the greatest quarterback in your league's history, and you're about to go develop a young quarterback, you take the opportunity to talk to Tom Brady, pick his brain, use that information to the best of your abilities to forward your own personal goals. But, like you said, I don't, while it is somewhat thirsty, and now that kind of explains why the Raiders, were spinning the narrative that they were close to kind of not make it look as bad when they didn't, like, instead of making it look like, we never had a chance. Like Ben Johnson, not returning our calls. Like, oh, man, we close. We feel we got him. Like, they're putting that narrative out there to kind of help soften the blow of what they knew was already coming, was that he wasn't going to be the future Raiders head coach. But, like something I try to live my life by, and it's difficult, it's difficult. But, I strive to do this more and more every day is that, you'd rather live a life full of oh wells than a life full of what ifs, so you go out there and you take the chances, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So fortune favors the bold. Like, there's a whole bunch of platitudes that apply to it. So you got to take those chances. You got to take the big swings in these situations. And sometimes, you get lucky and you'll land a guy like that, you know. So, but if you don't try, if you don't make the attempt, then you're already guaranteeing that you won't. So I don't mind it as much in hindsight. But yeah, I mean, like the Raiders, and another thing Albert Beer talked about in the interview is like something we talked about before, something I mentioned is that, you know, Mark Davis selling off these pieces of the team. Not only is he, you know, putting people in position to help further the team's goals, but he was becoming more liquid. So that's cash. That's an influx of cash he can use on, you know, training staff, on assistant coaches, on coordinators, on signing bonuses, on free agents. And so that's why I was saying, like, man, what Mark is doing when he's selling off these pieces of the team is he's playing 3-dimensional chess. It's genius stuff. Because not only do these be bringing these people into the fold, help him further the team and make these people who own part of the team have a vested interest in improving the team. But now he has the cash influx to use to spend on improving the team. So it's smart business. He's executing a great plan. Now, will it work? We don't know. You know, the play call is good, but you know that doesn't mean you're gonna score a touchdown on it. So I think he's calling some good plays. We're gonna see if you know if everything falls into place.
Yeah, man. It's kind of hard to believe too, because we're not used to it. I'm not used to it. The Raiders making really smart moves, and it's all coming together. I mean, obviously the Tom Brady, we're kind of skeptical, like how is that going to work? Where is he going to fit? But obviously when we heard like the new ownerships, you know, the other minority owners, not Richard Seymour and Tom Brady, but the other guys that were hired on, we're seeing the benefit of that. And he made sure and I'm sure, like, you know, Mark, I don't know how, but we're talking and I'm agreeing to sell the stake to them that they're going to be a part of, you know, helping this team move forward in the future. I mean, and winning some of these deals. I mean, look at the money they're handing out. It's crazy. And it's cash on hand. That's what it is. That's the big thing. It's the cash. And I think that's making a big difference. Like I said, I'm excited to see what free agency is going to look like. I'm excited what the draft is going to look like. I know someone in the chat earlier was saying, do you think the Raiders are going to be, you know, aggressive in free agency in the draft? Yeah, I can see it happening. But I will say this, though. If they end up really investing in a quarterback through trade or free agency, then I'm not sure if they're going to be trading up for a QB. They might take a QB, but I'm not sure if they're trading up. But let's say if they get a Marcus Mariota or, you know what I mean, some stopgate quarterback, some, you know, bridge quarterback, then you could start thinking about like, oh, okay, the Raiders might make a move to the top, maybe the top spot or in the top 3 or whatever to get a Shedeur Sanders or maybe even a Cam Ward. Who knows? We'll see. But we're not done yet, man. We got another notable quotable. If you want to give the intro to this second quote.
Yeah, so I know oftentimes we hear a lot about Coach Chip Kelly. You know, the loudest voices have really been LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson. And, you know, I say what you know, people have different feelings about those guys and how they've operated in the league. But I think everybody universally, you know, if you're in football, you respect Michael Vick. You know, a lot of people, they still may hold some animosity about, you know, the whole dogfighting scandal. But most people, you know, they respect him for his arc, right? From the young, immature guy to the dogfighting stuff to rehabilitating his character to coming back to the league and humbling himself, you know, being an ambassador for the league. And he has some very interesting things to say about Chip Kelly and how he was coached.
Yeah, I'm mad crying like, yo, I'm playing so good, like I'm at a Pro Bowl caliber level right now. Yeah. Like, what's the reasoning for making this decision?
With like a body of work too. With like a good resume too.
Clear head going, but he Jedi mind tricked me though. But that's how coaches got to do you. That's how they got to coach you. If I was ever coach, that's how I'm gonna make y'all compete.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At a high level, until I say it's enough.
Yeah.
Until I say you ready to take that next step forward. Until I see you ready to go and perform at a high level.
Yeah.
Other than that, you ain't ready to perform.
Right.
I get it. That's why they coaches. You know what I'm saying? That's why they can be looked at as so many different titles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, mentors, confidants. You know what I'm saying? Role models.
Yeah.
Like, cause they, you know what I'm saying? That's your job.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the way he broke it down. I mean, I think you know, Vic is his mindset. You know, you could tell he took it in stride. He probably at the time he took it hard because he did admit that he cried and you know he took it. You know, it was tough on him. But
so to give a little bit more context before you go on, this was Chip Kelly's first year, and Chip and Michael Vick and Nick Foles are in a QB battle. And Vic feels he's winning the QB battle. He's going out there. He's proving every day that he's the best guy. He's the guy that should be leading the team. And Chip Kelly would not name him the starter. And it got like he come in right there. He got to the point where he was so frustrated and so angry that he was like crying about it, like emotionally, like tears of like anger. Because he couldn't understand, like, bro, why won't you just validate me and give me this job that you know that I'm winning? But go ahead, man. So I just want to add a little more context.
No, and the thing is, I understand where Vic is coming from. I think hindsight is 20/20 at the end of the day. Like, I think he's looking back. I think he's grown a lot. I mean, he's coming from this is like years later. I don't know if he took it that way at the time, but I think now that he looked back, he's like, all right, you know what, it's a situation that I grew from, and I think he learned from, but. I still don't trust Chip Kelly as a head coach.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I still don't trust him as a head coach. As an offensive coordinator, where he just focused on the offense and running that, you know what? That's a different story. That I'm more intrigued about. But as a head coach, I don't know. I just feel like there's too many examples or situations where he kind of rubbed the locker room. Maybe it was a bad situation for him to get into, like, or there was an expiration date to his time in Philly because it wasn't guys that he brought in. It was the guys that he inherited. And obviously, like, he had to win that locker room over, which didn't sound like he did it 100%. He started trading away players. You know, it was a tough situation. I think, and Vic, you know, he spoke on it. And hey, look, I like that Vic took it that way. I like Vic. I like that he took it in a very mature way. And I think he looked at the situation like, yeah, if I was a coach, I would do it the same way. What was your take?
Yeah, man, I completely agree. And I think that, you know, sometimes you don't realize that people are trying to pull the best out of you. You know, you feel people are being mean or they're treating you unfairly or they're holding you to a different standard than they would anybody else. But oftentimes people do that because they see more in you than, you know, sometimes you see in yourself. So they're trying to pull that out of you. And a lot of people don't, you know, a lot of people are too immature to take it that way. Or a lot of people, they're so caught up in their own heads or so caught up in what they're doing that they don't see, you know, that the path that they're on is detrimental to their present and potentially their future as well. So instead of listening to these other voices that are trying to set you right, you ignore them because you think they're trying to tell you what to do or they're trying to belittle you or they're trying to little bro you or stuff like that. Like sometimes it takes a humble person to sit back and say, oh, dang, you know what? Maybe I needed to hear that. And, you know, I think, you know, Chip Kelly, I think he handled things definitely in the wrong way his time in Philadelphia. I think that he felt that his scheme and his system were bigger than the program, bigger than the league, right? Like the league has operated on players since its inception. And, you know, like your system and your scheme is not about to change that. You know, you can enhance that and you can show that, hey, you know what, I can take, you know, lesser players and I can still have some success, but you can't get rid of superstar players and replace them with lesser players and expect to have the same success as you were having with superstar players. And I think that's the issue he ran into. Like you can still have some success, but your ceiling, you have a ceiling on what your success is going to be. So no, I don't think he realized that early on. I think he thought that he can change the league single-handedly with his system and be the guy that, you know, took, you know, average players and won it all. And I think he learned a very hard lesson. And the fact that he was following Andy Reid, who had been there for such a long time, who had taken the team to the Super Bowl, and all those guys had close relationships with Andy Reid, and it was almost like a family type atmosphere. For him to come in and it to be more almost militaristic, I think that was too much of a 180 for some of those guys to handle. And it's like they say, you never want to be the guy that follows the guy. You want to be the guy that follows the guy that follows the guy. So you don't want to be the guy you don't want to be the coach that comes after Andy Reid. You want to be the coach that comes after the coach that follows Andy Reid. So I think that Chip Kelly was just in a bad situation there.
Well, look, let me ask you this, because do you think that type of head coach where in today's NFL, do you think a coach that's a non-player coach could win? I mean, we've seen it in the past, but I'm saying today's NFL, we're seeing a lot of the successful coaches in the league are the players coaches, the Tomlins. Would you throw Harbaugh? Seems like a players coach. John Harbaugh seems like a players coach. I'm trying to think of all the successful teams, the winning teams with good coaches. Andy Reid, we all know, is a players coach.
Yeah.
Jim, is Jim a players coach? Jim, I mean, he's a former player, but I'm not sure. He kind of He has a.
I wouldn't put Harbaugh, and I wouldn't put Tomlin in the lane of player coaches. I think they're just coaches. I think they can relate, and I think they know how to. I think they know the right buttons to push. I wouldn't say I don't think they're the same level. Like Andy Reid is a player's coach where he's like, hey, you know what? Let's get in here, all that stuff. I think people get along with Tomlin, but I wouldn't categorize him as a player's coach. I just think that people have a healthy level of respect for him, and he knows what buttons to push. He knows what lines not to cross, and he knows how to pull the best from his players. But I don't think he's the guy that gets too chummy. I think he keeps a healthy amount of, hey, you know what? I'm still the head coach. You're still my player. But hey, you know what? We can have a good relationship. But as long as you understand, I'm your head coach.
But you know what I mean? I mean, when I think of, dictator head coach, I'm thinking of Bill. I'm thinking of Bill Belichick. I'm thinking, who's the coach for the Giants when they won those Super Bowls? I'm thinking
Tom Coughlin.
The Coughlins. I'm not sure if we have that in the NFL. And when we do kind of see it, it just backfires. Like a Josh McDaniels doesn't seem like that's his personality. He comes from that Patriots building. What was another coach? Obviously, Chip Kelly tried to micromanage, and it backfired. It seems like I'm not sure if in today's NFL you could be that type of coach and win. That's why I'm saying a player's coach. I mean, it doesn't have to be to an extreme of maybe you mentioned Andy Reid, but Tomlin, I'm sure he has a good relationship with the players. You could see the player just this year. Remember we seen that clip of the offensive lineman clowning Tomlin?
Yeah.
On the way to the locker room. You know what I mean? So he has a really good relationship with the players. That's why I say he's a player's coach. And I've seen John Harbaugh after the game, do speeches. You could tell the players respect them, and maybe they fall. Maybe you can say they fall maybe closer to the middle than the players coach, but
yes, yeah,
you can make an argument
they're not Bill Belichick, but they're not Andy Reid, they're not Mike McDaniel, they're not like that, those guys. I think but I think that's the balance you have to strike. You have to be able to build bridges to be able to reach your players. Like they say, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. You have to be able to reach them on some kind of level. But I don't think I think there's still that healthy amount of I'm the head coach, you're my player. Understand that. I done seen him tell players to shut their ass up. Man, shut your ass up. I didn't see he didn't do Andy Reid ain't telling nobody shut their ass up. He ain't doing that, right? We've seen Tomlin do that.
You know what it is with Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, the coach. Obviously, he coached the Niners back in the day, and then also he's coaching the Chargers. He just kind of weird. He comes off a little he's awkward, but you could tell you could throw him under. I mean, you always get that. who got better than us? No, but like that was all like that's him in the Harbaughs. I mean, I seen John do it too, as well. But I think Jim kind of made it, especially with them Niners. I don't know if you guys remember them, like the Niners. Like that's when I first heard. I was like, man, that team. I'm not even a Niner fan. I hate the Niners, but like, man, that was a good team. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I don't know, man.
I'll say Harbaugh's more because Harbaugh's weird, but I think he's quirky, and I think players like that. I think he probably was closer to players coach than Tomlin does.
And
I think Tomlin is more.
Look at Detroit. Look at Detroit. Detroit.
Yeah.
Players coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what about Nick Sirianni though? What about Nick Sirianni?
He's a players coach.
Is he?
I remember Jalen Hurts. You know, maybe they have a really good relationship. I remember Nick Sirianni. He was like talking smack because after he won, he's like, and then like Jalen Hurts was trying to grab him and be like, "Hey, come on, bro." Like you could tell like they got that type of relationship. Like, hey, but I don't know. When I seen that, I'm like, yeah, I think he's. But you know, I could be wrong. I'm trying to think, and if even if he's not, like we said, we're talking about spectrum, right? Maybe he's not all the ultimate players coach. Maybe he's somewhere in the middle or in between or whatever. But can those types, like the Bill Belichick's, the Tom Coughlins, exist in today's NFL? Like, I don't know, man. It's a different type of player, man. It's a different type of locker room, different type of player to come out of college. Like, it's just, I don't know if they could coach in today's NFL. I mean, I'm trying to think. Sean McVay.
So he's definitely a players coach.
You know what I mean?
But I think that the thing about it is that usually those you need
Todd Bowles.
You need,
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles ain't a players coach. Todd Bowles ain't no. Todd Bowles ain't no players coach. Todd Bowles definitely ain't no players coach. Definitely not. But
because the way he looks. Is just the expression on his face?
Maybe that's it. Maybe Todd Bowles probably the nicest dude ever. But it's just
because he be mugging. He be mugging. Todd Bowles be mugging.
Todd Bowles be look like Todd Bowles. But
he ready to fight.
The thing is that I think that the other style of coaching can win, but like I said, it takes you have to get your own guys in the building, and you have to start them like young and get them acclimated to your program. Like it's hard to inherit somebody else's team and get them acclimated to your program. So you have to do like what Gruden did when he got here. And like, yeah, I know y'all love Jack Del Rio. All y'all can get out. Like, I'm bringing in my dudes. We starting this thing from scratch. I'm about to raise all y'all and y'all about to be, it's like, if you like, it's like training dogs. If you get them for somebody that's a bad trainer or don't know what they're doing, then first you have to break their bad habits, and that's the hardest part. Like, it's not hard to teach them what you need to teach them. The hardest part is to break them of previous bad habits. Once you do that, then you can fill in everything else. Like, that's the easy part. That's just repetition. So like it's changing that culture from that culture to this one, because everybody is resistant to change. Like, nobody likes change. Like that's the one. That's why people stay in jobs and stay in apartments and stay in relationships and they stay there forever because they fear change. So they rather be comfortable in this mess that they're in, whether it be a job or whatever, than risk it and go out and do something else, because they fear the unknown, or they fear what's new. They're more comfortable with the devil they know than the devil they don't know. So that's the hardest part, is to get people to buy into that culture. And it takes, one way to do it is to win early on. Like, if Josh McDaniels won all those one-score games we were losing, if we were winning those games, the players look at him totally different. Like, bro, this shit working. Right. This is working. Hey, all this extra film session, all this correction, bro, we out here winning games. We're executing late. We're closing the deal. But the fact that you're doing all this and you're not winning, that's like, bro, you wasting my time. Like,
it didn't work with Chip Kelly though.
Huh?
It didn't work with Chip Kelly though, because
with Chip Kelly?
Because he did win early on, right? He did win. They had a top offense, and he did win some games early on, but he still rubbed the players the wrong way still. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was a
but
tough situation.
there was other stuff. There's other stuff that went on with it, like the Riley Cooper stuff, and then the trading of LaShawn McCoy, and then like
But
there are other things that went into that.
When did the LaShawn McCoy trade happen?
I want to say that happened after his second year. So that's when they kind of, because that third year he didn't win. The first 2 years he won. He went 10-6, both those first years. And the third year, I don't think he won. And that's when he got rid of Nick Foles and tried to bring in Sam Bradford. And that's like it got wicked that last year.
They traded away LaShawn and Deshaun in the same year, or was it different off seasons?
They cut LaShawn. They cut Deshaun.
No.
They cut him.
They cut Deshaun, and then they traded away.
They cut Deshaun. They traded LaShawn to the Bills for Kiko Alonso,
and
who had played for Chip Kelly at Oregon.
And then they were about to trade Brandon Graham. He was going to trade Brandon Graham, and they end up, obviously, the owner came in and nixed the deal. Was like, nah, your leash is done, bro. You can't make that move because Brandon Graham was a big time player that helped them win the Super Bowl with the Eagles. I think the first time around. I think he had a big game. I think it's very possible. I'm looking at around the NFL, man. I think it's tough, bro, to win that type of coaches. I think is extinct. Like you can't win like that.
Yeah,
that's Bill Belichick. It's gonna be Bill Belichick in college. It's gonna be crazy.
It'll be crazy. But in college, you have a different kind. Like college, it's all about like that's how Nick Saban is like that. Nick Saban is like a straight like, but the thing, it's a balance though. Like you can't be that way all the time. It's like you can't be like just pounding on people because they'll break. You have to like, hey, you know what? You have to be tough on them when you need to be tough on them. But when they do well, hey, I see you. I see a breakthrough coming. Hey, bro, I see you. Hey, I saw from last week to this week, big improvement, man. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Just keep it up. But when they mess up, you have to be on them. But when they do something right. You can't you can't just yell, hey, it ain't good enough. I need three more times before I, you gotta strike a balance. And that's what Nick Saban was able to do. That's what Tomlin is able to do. That's what DeMeco Ryans, that's what a lot of these players, a lot of these coaches are able to strike that balance. You can't be too, I think AP was probably too nice, right? People said, oh, it's undisciplined. There's no accountability here. Yeah, I think he tried to zig too far from where McDaniel was at, and then it got out of hand. And then, they say the players were kind of running the show and kind of doing their own thing, and things weren't getting done properly. And so I think he went too far that way. But you can't go too far the other way, or you're Josh McDaniels, right? The Raiders had both of those in consecutive years, and now that we're hoping we have somebody that's kind of in the middle with Pete Carroll.
Yeah, now the players coach. It's a lot of player coach, man. A lot of hey, man. If the Raiders are gonna
Chip Kelly ain't no player coach.
Look, automatically when I seen Chip Kelly get hired, I just thought about like, oh hell no, he better not think he gonna make a chess move, build a good offense with the Raiders, and then obviously when I'm just thinking ahead. That's all I'm doing. It might not happen. It might, he might end up getting a coaching job somewhere else, which I'm good with. And which is crazy. What's a crazy stat? The Raiders have never lost a coordinator to another team. They've never lost
as a head coach.
As a head coach. Yeah, as a head coach. I gotta put that out there. Which is damn. That's
still probably ain't gonna happen. It's probably still not gonna happen.
Hey man, you never know. Maybe someone takes a chance on Chip Kelly. Who knows? Or Patrick Graham. Shout out to Patrick Graham too.
I think Chip Kelly and Patrick Graham both came here. They see Pete Carroll is about to be 74 years old. And they like, look, if I do my thing here, once he steps away, I'm the next person, right? It's like them young girls that marry them old ass dudes. They're like, bro, I ain't got to be with this dude 5 years, and he croaks, and I'm a millionaire. Like, I'm good. I'm set for life. So I think that was their calculation. Like, look, this is neither one of those guys. We're going to probably get head coaching jobs in the league. It's going to be like Chip Kelly for sure, and then it's going to be very difficult for Patrick Graham, especially because teams are preferring to hire young, offensive-minded head coaches. So it's going to be really tough for him to get a head coaching job. Period. So. It was going to take, something like It's going to take something like this for him to get a head coaching job, where he's already in the organization. Pete Carroll steps away. And then that's how Todd Bowles got his job, right? Todd Bowles was about to get, like, nobody's going to bring in Todd Bowles in the interview like, man, this guy is so charismatic. Like, no, that wasn't about to happen. So he got his job, from Bruce Arians stepping away. And that's essentially going to probably be what's going to happen with Patrick Graham.
Man, hey, man, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. We're not done yet, man. We got what's real, what's not. This is where we say a statement. You let us know if it's real or it's not. And we go ahead and give you the first what's real, what's not statement here. Considering Chip Kelly's propensity to run the football, Ashton Jeanty is now a realistic possibility for Raiders at number 6. So I'm going to repeat this once more, man. Is this real or is it not? Considering Chip Kelly's propensity to run the football, Ashton Jeanty is now a realistic possibility for the Raiders at the 6th overall pick. Is that real or is it not? Man. Also, I mean, you could throw in Pete Carroll's name in there too. Pete Carroll loves to run the football. And, one of the biggest moves in Pete Carroll's regime with Seattle was trading for, Marshawn Lynch. Him and John Schneider trading for Marshawn Lynch from the Buffalo Bills at the time. And the rest is history. I'm going to say this is not real, man. Ashton Jeanty, as good a player he is, man, 6 overall, running back, it's going to be tough, man. I can't see that happening. I mean, he's good, but there's so many good running backs in this draft, man. And you got me sold on Henderson from Ohio State, especially when I seen that he's a really good pass blocker. So, that means he's going to be on the field every down. Like, he's going to be an every down back. And he obviously has that speed, and Chip Kelly, there's that connection. But it's not even just him, man. There's so many different running backs, so many different ways the Raiders can go about it, and they don't have to spend a first round pick on a running back. They can go ahead and get a guy in the 2nd round, in the 3rd round, in the 4th round, in the 5th round. Like, this is a really good draft. It's funny. This draft got a lot of good defensive linemen and a lot of good running backs, and this is all positions where Raiders can use some depth.
Yeah.
Obviously, we need some running back. We could easily grab a pass rusher. Most likely, I would say like interior pass rusher, or not even interior, just an interior pass rusher. We need a big guy to stop the run.
I think we need a nose tackle. Yeah, we need a nose tackle.
Yeah, we know nose tackle, and we could add some depth too, because we don't know what's going to happen in free agency. Because as much as people, also Butler, as much as people like him, is he going to come back? We're not going to re-sign. I don't think we're going to re-sign everybody. I think we're going to re-sign some, but not all, because obviously Spytek is in the building. He's going to have his say on who he wants in the building. Pete Carroll is going to have his say on what he wants in the building. Patrick Graham is going to give his 2 cents. He's probably going to be vouching for the guys that played well for him last year. But at the end of the day, the final decision is going to be made by the head coach and Spytek. So we'll see how it shakes out. But what do you think it's real or not?
That's not real. And I think for 2 reasons, right? I think first off, if you look at Chip Kelly, like later in his career, like especially like this last few years with UCLA, and even with Judkins and to some degree Travion Henderson, he liked running backs that have a little bit more size. Like early in his career, he had LaMichael James, who was a small guy. But Michael James got to the league and he wasn't effective, and I think he kind of saw that and was like, "Yo, like this isn't the formula." And later on, he picked up guys like Zach Charbonnet, who's a bigger back, Joshua Kelly, who's a bigger back, Britton Brown, who was with us, who didn't make the league, but who's a little bit of a bigger back. I think he likes those bigger backs, but he likes to have those guys coupled with the guy that's he likes the thunder and lightning scenario. And I think that we have a guy in Travion Henderson who was a guy who's really like a little bit of both. He's like has a good blend of size, but he still has that explosiveness, still has that pass catching ability. Like you already mentioned, he's probably the best back in his class in terms of pass pro. So he can be a 3-down player for you, and he can split out wide. run routes, from the slot, run routes from the outside. Like, he can do all of that stuff for you. So he's a weapon. And then you pair him with you can pick up a big bruiser later on in the draft, right? Or get a guy that's more of a hammer, and pair those guys together. And now you have a brand new running back room, and you can, Chip Kelly can do all the crazy run schemes that he wants to do, all the pin and pull and all the outside zone and inside zone, like all that. He can do all that stuff. The HB counter, he can run all that stuff with these backs. So I think that at 6, like you said, in the running back class this deep, like drafting the running back at 6, that will be terrible.
Yeah, it don't even have to be Henderson. It could be a Judkins. It could be the guy from. I don't want to take him in the second though. As much as I remember people were kind of hyped up, but the running back from Arizona State, I'll take him in the
Cam
third.
Scatterbull?
Yeah, it's just speed. Yeah. It's just speed, man. He's kind of slow. But it's not everything at the end of the day. Like, Josh Jacobs doesn't have the long speed. He's not the fast guy, and he, we all know how productive he was with the Raiders. He was taken in the first round, so that's just me saying that. But there's plenty of other running backs. There's a guy from I'm trying to
Caleb Johnson.
Not Caleb Johnson. He was at the Senior Bowl. Devin Neal.
Oh, Devin Florida? Neal. He's from Florida.
Devin Neal could be an option. What do you think of Ali Gordon?
Ali Gordon from OK State. I mean, I think at the beginning of the year, or through a large part of the year, people had him as like RB2. He was behind Genty, and I think he just didn't. I don't think his production this year measured up to that. But I still think he's a back that'd be worth taking, in the later rounds. There's a guy from Texas Tech, Taj Boyd. I think he's a good back. There's another guy I like too. Damn, I can't think of him right now. But there are a lot of good backs in this draft class, man. So like you can get two guys. You can get 2 guys in the mid rounds, and then probably get a UDFA that was like worthy of a 5th round pick in previous years. Like, that's how deep this class is. So it's no need to take one in the first round.
Yeah, man. To me, there's no need to get a guy in the first round, but we'll see. There's plenty of guys that we can get later in the later rounds. Like I said, a lot of people in the chat like, hey man, we can draft someone later in the draft. I think that everybody's kind of like moving towards that. And I think everybody's kind of thinking about the best player available, because obviously there's a situation where the Raiders trade for a quarterback, they get their quarterback in free agency. Doesn't mean they're not going to get a quarterback in the draft, but they might wait into the second or third to get a guy that they can develop. In that first round, they could easily go offensive line, they can go corner, they can go pass rusher. Pretty much best player available. A Travis Hunter can drop. They can go receiver. They can get your boy out of Arizona State, I believe. Was it Arizona State or Arizona? T-Mac.
Arizona. Yeah, Tedoroda McMillan.
Yeah, they could be receiver at that spot. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different ways the Raiders can get. To me, it's best player available if Raiders can't get their quarterback at that spot. So we'll see how it shakes out. But man, we're not done, man. If you want to give the intro to this next What's Real, What's Not.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1 second. So with this familiarity in an up-tempo offense, combined with a sizable dead cap hit if released, the Raiders will elect to keep Gardner Minshew next season. Is that real? Is that not real? So one more time, I'll give it to y'all one more time. With his familiarity in an up-tempo offense, he played under Mike Gundy with Washington State, rather. Led the NCAA in passing, as a matter of fact, broke all kind of records. Combined with a sizable dead cap hit if released, the Raiders will elect to keep Gardner Minshew next season.
Man, I've been pretty vocal about the Raiders need to cut their ties now, man. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing for them to gain by keeping them. Cut their ties. I know there's going to be a little debt. There's going to be a dead cap hit, not a little, but there's going to be a dead cap hit. But they're going to get some cap space too. You know what I mean? They're also, it's addition by subtraction. They're gonna pay for him to go away, but at the same time, they're also gonna get some cap space for him to go away as well. I think they go. You mentioned with Chip Kelly, it's going to be a little bit of timing. It's going to be quick release. It's going to be being accurate. That's not something that I see Minshew doing. I don't think he fits that. I mean, in my opinion, but we'll see how it shakes out. But I'm going to say it's not real. I don't think the Raiders are going to keep him. I think they're going to cut their ties. That was a mistake made by the previous regime. I think Spytek, if he's looking ahead, and I think it would be a shrewd move, but I think they're going to upgrade that quarterback room, and I don't think it's going to include Gardner Minshew. So I'm going to say it's not real.
I'm going to say it's not real, but I can see it happening. I don't think it will happen, but I can definitely see a scenario where it happens, especially if they don't feel that any of the quarterbacks that they can get in this upcoming free agency class are that much better than Minshew, and or they're not worth whatever the cap hit is that Minshew is going to be against your salary cap plus the contract you have to pay that quarterback. So if they don't feel that's enough value being added there, I can see Spytek being the shrewd guy saying, you know what, this is a wash year. We'll let him walk after next year. I think there's maybe a void year at the end of next year, but other than that, like there's no real cap hit against, or the cap hit is like $3 million, something super small. So they hang on to him for 1 year and then wash their hands with them the next year after that. But honestly, I think they get designated to June. I think he gets designated to June 1st cut, and they just get rid of him.
Yes, man. Everybody wants. Hey, man. I think we're all in agreement, man. I think we want him to go, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Minshew. I understand. You made the connection with the offenses, but it's like, if anything,
'cause he ran
if anything, a guy that you can make an argument for is a Aiden O'Connell, but you can also make an argument that Aiden O'Connell could possibly be gone. You know what I mean? Just based off, it's possible. It's possible, especially because it depends on who they go with as a starter. They might want to add someone else that's similar to his skill set. How many quarterbacks are they going to keep on board? Like, I know a lot of the Aiden O'Connell fan club is not going to like that. Now I'm talking like this, but it is what it is. Steve says, hell no, not real. He ain't mentoring anybody. If anything, rookie QB will have to mentor him. Sheesh. Oh, man. Francis says Minshew is horrible. I can't look at him anymore. Oh, man. Raiders supposed to say, hell no, back to his RV he goes.
He living in that thing.
Man, Minshew's going to go back to I can see that happening. You know what?
Coach? I don't know about that.
We got to cut him. The coach is not going to trade back. I was about to say, like, why don't they just trade him?
Yeah, they're not going to trade him.
But I can see I can see him signing him. I mean, like, that's where the last time he was productive and played well. So if they can add him to the quarterback room, I think they would. They're comfortable with him. I mean, Minshew's going to go back to Flacco is getting old. Yeah, is he 40 now? He was like 38, 39 going into the season.
He's pushing 40. If he's not 40 already, he's pushing 40.
Yeah. So you're right. AR still needs to develop. Mm-hmm. Alex says Dancho's license. Trade AOC for a bag of chips. Oh man, I don't think he's that bad, man. I don't think AOC's that bad, but
AOC he's pretty bad.
He's backup.
He's pretty bad.
He's a backup.
But he'll give you a game every now and then where you're like, ooh, all right.
But that's what backups do, though. Backups, they can only give them a certain amount of time, and then eventually, they
get figured out.
They figure him out. Yeah.
That's what happened. That's what happened with Gardner Minshew. You got to figure it out. Remember he led the league. Remember he led the league in passing like the first 4 or 5 weeks, and then he got figured out, and it was all over from there.
Man, the chat is wild, man. That was so random. Diehard Raider says start AOC as QB1. Oh, we got the president of the AOC fan club right here. He says start AOC at QB1, get Flacco or Dalton for QB2 backup, or mentoring draft QB round 1 who will sit a year. Get rid of Minshew post June, save $9 million. Man, that's wild. Man.
Ain't no way in the road.
I agree with the last sentence. I agree with the last one. I agree with the last one. I say get rid of Minshew post June. I agree with that one. Yeah. Getting draft. I also agree drafting a QB round 1. I
don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. Because you'd probably have to trade up. I'm not trading up for no QB.
No.
I'm not trading up for no QB.
But I could see them being aggressive though, bro. I can see them being aggressive and getting and trading up. Just the way they're attacking this, just look at how they're cashing out all these assistant coaches. Watch when free agent comes and goes, then we're gonna have a better idea of how they're gonna attack the draft. But man, it just seemed like they're gonna be pretty aggressive and they're gonna get who they want to get. This is not gonna be a situation where, it's Tom Telesco special, best player available. I mean, it could happen, but
bro, man. if we trade up for a quarterback. If we trade after having the number 1 overall pick, bro, if we trade up for a quarterback, bro, I'm gonna be sick for weeks, bro. I'm gonna be sick. I don't care if it's Cam. That's my favorite. I don't care if it's Cam Ward. I'm gonna be sick because we had it. We were there. We didn't have to do anything but stay where we was at, and we could have our pick of anybody. But remember these people. Oh, we should win games. What about that? Like,
because you put a coach like AP in a position where he felt like he got to win games to keep his job. So he was doing whatever it takes. He was doing whatever it takes. But I bet you if it was a situation where it was a coach that knew that he was going to be here for at least 2 to 3 years, or at least 3 years, let alone 2 years, then maybe they would have made more moves. Maybe I know coach is not going to play to lose, but maybe he could have, the GM might have been in his ear and been like, okay, why don't we play this guy that we drafted in the 4th, 5th? Bro, we didn't see Dylan Lobby play. We seen him fumble.
Bro.
Like does he even make it out of training camp next year? I don't even know. Like Dylan Lobby, he literally fumbled one, and that was the last time we seen Dylan Lobby. I mean, we seen him. I'm lying. He did have that kick. He had a kick return.
He had a nice kickoff return, and then he never got another one, right?
No, he was in there, but it just never. He didn't do anything after that. But I know he was in there a few times, but I don't know.
Okay. So I don't remember him ever getting another one. I remember it was Amir Abdullah, right? That was getting the kickoff returns.
I was just saying on offense, his opportunities on offense. I was like, what the hell? With all the injuries at running back, and we had the worst running back in the room. Why not hand him the ball off a few times and see they must have think he was trash or something like that, or they couldn't trust him at all. Russ comes in.
He probably not making a roster.
Yeah. It is what it is. Hey, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in at this point, clock out. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, it's been a great show. We'll be back here later this week, man, with Around the Shield. We'll have a special guest. Don't worry, we'll have someone on there, man, and we'll have a lot to talk about. I mean, we haven't really got into the Senior Bowl, so hopefully we'll get someone. We'll have someone to come by and that was able to be at the Senior Bowl and break it down, and we'll get to talk about that, and also maybe a look ahead to free agency too as well. That being said, Severe, man, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
You guys know what it is. It's the Severe Raider here on YouTube, the Severe Raider on IG, on X, Snapchat, TikTok, all of that good stuff. Make sure y'all hit the button, hit the subscribe button. Catch me here every Tuesday afternoon in the Raider Roar Room. Chris from Protect the Shield, 805 Raider, and of course every Tuesday evening where y'all at right now, around with 50-50 show. That's Around the Shield on Friday, and Around the Shield on Friday. We're gonna be coming out with y'all some crazy stuff on Around the Shield. So make sure if y'all not tuning into that show, we're gonna be doing some very, very interesting things over there. Maybe some stuff, maybe some guests y'all never seen before. Maybe some people y'all never seen before. And maybe that's coming in the near future. I don't want to say yes, I don't want to say no.
Hey,
But
man.
we got some stuff that we working on, man. So make sure y'all hit the like button on this video. Make sure you hit the sub on both channels and hit the notification bells on both channels, because y'all never know when we gonna go live and hit y'all with something new, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, like Sphere said, we'll be back here next week on the 50-50 show every Tuesday nights. Make sure to clock in. Make sure to subscribe. We're going live on both our channels, so if you ain't subscribed to both, man, make sure to do so. And later this week, man, like I said, Around the Shield, we'll drop an episode. We'll have someone on here, hopefully breaking down the Senior Bowl, all that good stuff. I know they wrapped it up last week, this weekend with the game, and hopefully we get into like some of the guys that stood out. But hey, look, like I said, the Raiders. Obviously we weren't big on the Pete Carroll hire just for the long term, and how But that being said, we're liking the assistant coaches. We're liking the staff that's being put together, and that's part of this. And the Raiders are not holding back when it comes to getting the guys that they want. They're paying these guys, and that, like I said, that has me excited about what the offseason is going to be looking like moving forward, because it seems like they're going to be pretty aggressive in getting who they want in the building, and that means free agency. I think if they can prioritize the offensive line, because like I said, bro, we talked about it before, Trey Turner, you know what I mean? He's going to be available. He's going to be off. Hopefully they don't get him a franchise or anything like that, or they don't sign him.
Smith?
Trey Smith, yeah. I guess, why did I say Trey Turner?
He used to be a football player.
long time ago. But yeah, man, Trey Smith would be a huge get for the Raiders, because that's a big need for us. However way you want to look at it, I mean, that's going to be interesting too. We didn't even get into that, how the offensive line is going to look like under Chip Kelly, and does Brendan Carroll, what is he going to be bringing in? Is it going to be a power scheme? Is it going to be a zone blocking scheme? It feels like it's going to be a zone blocking. This Chip Kelly, it just fits. I know he did that with UCLA, right?
So Chip Kelly does. I'm telling you, his schemes are crazy. Like he'll do stuff where he'll run power stuff to one side with the zone on the backside, and it'll like screw up. It'll destroy run fits. Like defensive players don't know like how to like he does some crazy stuff. It does like a lot of pin pull stuff. Like he loves the pulling guards. He loves pin pull. He'll have double pullers. He'll have wide receivers lined up, in like ace formation or like where the tight end usually lines up, and he'll have them pull in front of a running back because they're faster than tight end, so they can get out and kick out faster. Like he does a whole bunch of interesting stuff with his run game, bro. Like that's why UCLA they ran the ball, bro. And as soon as they got a pro level running back, they're running the top, if not the top rushing school in the nation. So he can run we're going to run the football. I don't care if we had Zamir White out there. We'll be able to run the football.
Hey, Zamir White might have some life with Chip Kelly at head coach. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it looks like. We'll get into it, but all I know is, and the reason why I brought it offensive line and how it's going to look like, because does Andre James come back? You know what I mean? Does Andre James, is he going to be a guy that they bring back? Is he going to be the center? Is he going to, it's going to be interesting how JPJ is going to be at center. Is he going to be offensive guard? Like, it's so much we can get into and what we could talk about. And then hopefully we'll continue that conversation on Around the Shield. Make sure to tune in. Like I said, clock in. At this point, clock out. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate everybody coming through. Any last thoughts before we head out, Severe?
No, sir, man. Make sure y'all stop by the 50-50 shop. Get yourself something. Get your girl something. Get your wife something. Get your kids something.
Get something. Just get. All right, man. We out of here, man. We'll see y'all later this week, man. Peace.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.